Hey. Here we go. Woohoo!
Step inside the SmashBoxx with Jonny V and Terry Miller, the disc golf guy.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to podcast number 37. I'm your host, Terry Miller, the disc golf guy, joined here in studio in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I have Jonny V, frantic?
No, not right now.
You're under control.
I got it all under control, Terry Miller.
All right. Well, Jonny V is here. We were a little haphazard this evening.
You came in way later than you normally do.
I did.
And I was putting my kids to bed a little later than I normally do.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had some issues with the streaming. It didn't want to kick in. The cameras didn't want to kick in, but that just required a quick reboot and restart and reinstall. It took like 3 minutes. But just those last second things that always get you when you do things this late, like when you're not quite on the ball.
Are you saying we're ill prepared?
I'm saying sometimes we are, yeah.
Sometimes we are. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. Go ahead and click on the right-hand gear button on the bottom of the screen if you want to up the clarity in which you can see us. We're streaming out here at 720. We should be getting a full 720 signal. We get some big things that are coming up in the next few weeks. And
we do, yeah.
Namely, one thing that we can touch on now, and we'll talk about it more in upcoming weeks, but one of the big things that's really just right around the corner is the Maple Hill Open presented by Vibram. That's, let's just say I'm leaving in 7 days. So I keep thinking it's further out, but I fly out in 7 days.
It feels really close.
It is.
like we're starting to get a bunch of things together, assets and commercials from all the companies that are doing the sponsoring and things like that. So we're ahead of the ball a little bit in some aspects. And some things I feel like we're kind of pushing last minute, as we always do, like our cameraman.
Yes.
We've got a second cameraman who many people know. He's big in the disc golf community as far as disc golf videos. He is flying in from Bend, Oregon.
Hopefully.
Joe Height, who did the memorial with us. He was the main cameraman at the memorial who you hung out with and basically, were tethered to at some point.
Most points.
Most points throughout the broadcast. So we've got Joe Height coming in. We're looking right now at flights from Bend to Boston. And they're very expensive.
Well, and let's set this up correctly. We've been talking with Joe for quite some time and getting all the details organized. However, there was just some timing issues as to how it was going to unfold in the exact dates. So I hate the fact that we're saying we technically have not booked his flight yet. And it's a little stressful because every passing moment, less options are available and the costs are going up. So if you have any frequent flyer miles that you want to donate to the cause, or you can help out in any way, maybe you're a pilot and we could charter you for a few $100s.
Joe can fly co-pilot.
He's a talented individual.
He can learn.
Yes, he's a very, very talented individual. So I'm sure he could put on a headset. He could probably steer. I mean, he uses that big wheel.
He does
already.
He has a giant wheel with a camera inside, and that's how he keeps the camera stable. When we'll take some pictures of it and post it, I'm sure, for next week. But yeah, I mean, it can't be that much different than flying a plane.
Yeah, I know. I mean, he presses a lot of buttons and he makes things look pretty, so I'm sure he can make it happen. So those are some of the things we're working on. Also looking for extended coverage. I'll let a little spoiler out in that I'm going to be working with AJ Risley, and although SmashBoxx is going to be there bringing you live coverage throughout the entire week, I'm also working with AJ so that the Disc Golf Guy channel, well, it may be even somewhat taken over by the Disc Golf Boy, but the Disc Golf Guy channel is also going to be bringing you coverage throughout the week, and we're going to kind of strategize exactly what he'll be, filming and presenting on my channel, and then, of course, the SmashBoxx production will be giving you live every single day. We're hoping to also do a live broadcast or a podcast just about every night, depending on what night things shake out.
Yeah, depending on how things shake out and standings and what we have going on. We hope to do a live broadcast of some sort every night with guests and Terry and maybe whoever else is on site. Hopefully Steve Dodge will come join us. I know he's hard to find that whole week usually. As much as he lives.
Is that a short joke?
No.
Okay.
Maybe there's some pictures we can share. Maybe he can beam himself in. No, he's hard to find because he's so busy doing about 1,000 other things. I swear that we hung out in his house last year. I think I saw the guy twice.
Yeah, he's definitely busy, and he does have an amazing staff and crew running around, but he still finds himself caught up in doing a lot of different things. But then again, I've also seen him reprieve some spotters out on a hole, and if somebody needs a break, he's not afraid to, get his hands dirty, so to speak, go out, grab some flags, and spot a few holes, or bring them lunch, or do whatever he has to do. So he's really a tournament director that has helps put all hands on deck, so to speak.
Yeah.
And we're excited about it. But before we get too excited about what's going on in 7 to 8 to 10 days, let's kind of talk about what's going on this weekend, and we're going to talk about what just happened last weekend, so we could put this all in perspective. We're going to get Dana on the line here in a moment. We normally kind of catch up with Dana a little bit before the podcast, but with some, as we said, last minute adjustments, we weren't able to catch up with Dana. So we're going to get him on here in a second. Dana was fortunate enough to be out at the Beaver State Fling, so we feel like no better person than firsthand experience from Dynamite. And sometimes when we call people, there can be an audio issue or two. So if we're going to get him on for the first time and there's any audio issues, we'll work through that.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll just babble about stuff.
You could. It kind of hung up on us. It was kind of funny. I don't know what that was, Dana. It just hung up on us.
Sean's asking out there if we have video, and video from last weekend. No, we don't. I wasn't present. And I know there were a number of different crews, but again, we'll get on that subject in a moment with Dana.
Dana, do you have any video from last week?
I think I got a little video of some of the playoff, but it's not posted anywhere or anything.
Oh,
no scooping. Okay, well, welcome to the show. We didn't give him the fancy intro, but he showed up with the dude wear and the beautiful hair. Dynamite Dana Vici. How you doing tonight, buddy?
What's going on, boys? Good to see you.
You're looking tan.
Am I?
I think you.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the lighting because you've got a different background or what, but you're looking a little bit more flush.
I spent quite a bit of time in the water out at Milo MacGyver State Park, the Clackamas River.
Lots of OB penalty strokes.
Actually, I didn't end up throwing my frisbee in the water, or actually once in warm up. But it's an awesome place where you can just a couple of spots on the course, you can just stop playing during a practice round and hop in, take a quick dip, cool off. The weather was a little warm earlier in the week, and then come tournament time, it wasn't too hot, but it was just warm enough to feel good and hop in the water afterwards. And a lot of players definitely take advantage of that, myself being one of them.
Now, when you're traveling almost from anywhere to get then out to the course, isn't it true you pretty much have to go right by like a major entry point to the river? I know at least during Worlds, the route we took, like we were literally backed up for minutes upon minutes because there were so many hundreds of people like getting out of their cars and taking their inner tubes and then going down to the river. Is that the main entrance point around there? Is that where you were?
Yeah, that's. We swim down there and then also swim on the other course, which is a spot where people actually hop in and float and then get out where you're talking about, or they start their float and do like a 5-6 hour float down to Carver or another town down the road. But which we actually did. I did a float last year and that was a lot of fun, minus Ashley and her friend missing their flights home because the flight went long. But it quickly became the most expensive float ever.
I think I vaguely remember that.
Yeah.
And speaking of floats, we're going to sidetrack for 2 seconds. Congratulations to your home state and kind of suburban area of Chicago that apparently won some hockey match thing.
Float? Where did that come from?
I was thinking of parades. Victory parades, floats.
Okay.
That's how this mind works, ladies and gentlemen. So congratulations. You a Blackhawks fan, or do you just sell frisbees with their imagery on it? yeah, there we go. And that wasn't even rehearsed, as sad as that is.
Hold on. Check out. I got my dude tech shorts on. They've got mini pockets.
Yes, they do.
And,
Yep.
I got minis too. So everybody hit me up for.
All right. Enough of the sales here. Dana, for those who aren't watching, Dana's sporting his dude clothing down under Disc Evolution, which we're going to be giving some more reviews on in upcoming shows, and also showing off his completely legal Blackhawk stamped minis and putters that he's got available. Completely legal. Anyway. All right, so congratulations. Did you get to see part of the game last night, or were you stuck in an airport like Will Schustrick?
Was not stuck in an airport. I was actually sitting in the exact same spot I was 2 years ago when they won the Stanley Cup. So at my good friend Steve's house, who lives out in Portland with him and his family, coincidentally was sitting in the same couch in the same spot, watching the same TV, and yeah, it's pretty exciting. I'm a casual fan, and but it was still fun to see him win.
Well, congrats. All right, so speaking of winning and some amazing battles that were taking place, you were there and on site. I got to admit, I was definitely jealous. Tell us what you saw. Save the open division for last. Tell us what else you saw or heard went down.
Yeah, definitely. I'll started up with the ladies' side, and all weekend it was a really close battle between Jessica Weiss and Val Jenkins. They traded strokes back and forth in the first couple rounds, and then we're all tied up going into the final round. And Jessica, she said it out on the course. It's my time. This is my time, and sure enough, it ended up being her time. She did win her first national tour over Val by one throw, and then Kat was actually a couple throws behind them. But Jessica Weiss, first national tour win.
She's come on pretty strong this year.
Yeah.
I mean, she's got a really solid team, and she's interesting to watch.
I'll say I saw Nico made a comment.
We actually.
No, I was just gonna say real quick. Nico made a comment. He was showing an Instagram video of her making a putt, and then said congratulations to Jessica. They're dating, not a big secret there. But said congratulations to her. This was her first win, and he expects to see more out of her in terms of winning big events like that. So. If she puts it together the way she did this weekend, she's got a good chance to do that.
Yeah. I mean, she's what is she, 18, 19 years old? So, presumably going to continue to keep playing and keep getting better. So that'll be interesting to see. And if you did notice, no Paige Pierce mention. Paige was at the event. Was hoping to play, but I believe she rolled her ankle the previous week out in Missoula, Montana, and just wasn't ready to push it. So she was out there supporting her travel companion, Madison, and Madison put a couple good rounds together. I believe she hung into the cash, but I think she actually, Madison was on the lead card during the third round, so congratulations to Madison for continuing to get better and better out there, and it's got to help having your best friend and a world champion caddying for you.
Yeah, that probably...
We wouldn't know. Neither of us are world champions, so if we ever caddy for each other...
Oh, yeah,
that's
a good point.
That. Yeah.
No, and again, as you said, it was a battle. I've also noticed the national tour standings today. I think they were just recently updated in the last 24 hours. And Val Jenkins has moved into first place, I think. Now I'm second-guessing myself, but I believe she moved into first place after this weekend, understandably. And to see Paige fall from first to fifth place, and naturally it's because she's, there's been 4 events, and she's only, she's played in now 3. Now, funny enough, though, in 3 events played, she has 300 points, the max that you can, because she's won them all. So it was interesting to see that, obviously that drastic of a jump.
Do you remember, is it the best of X amount of events, or is it all events? I know there's a formula of some sort.
There's got to be. I don't know, maybe Dana knows. I'm sure if I clicked around on a link or two, I could probably find it. I'm guessing they take 5 out of the 6 or 6 out of the 8 or something of that nature. I don't think it's going to be a total cumulative amount, because that'd stink.
A little bit,
if
but dedication.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but and then Paul, well, he's
spoiler. Let's let Dana get to this.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. National Tour point update later. All right, let's move over to the Masters division. Dana, I was watching it unfold. How about yourself?
Yeah, that was it's kind of exciting and a little bit of a surprise who ended up on top. Leading up into the final round and the final putts, there was a number of players up there in that first place slot, ranging from Patrick Brown to Scott Stokely, Big Mike from out in Washington. He was in first place for a while, and at the end of the day on Sunday, we had a playoff in the Masters side between Patrick Brown and Scott Stokely.
Wow, I was gonna say that's pretty impressive, because Scott he's been doing really well in the Masters at smaller fields, but this is really his first really big Masters event, and to go up and tie Patrick Brown, who is arguably one of the top 3 Masters in the world. I mean,
arguably he is. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that either shows a really stellar weekend by Scott, maybe a not so great weekend by Pat, or that Scott's game is just starting to heat up. He's been on tour now for a couple months, and he's really getting his game going. What do you think, Dana?
Yeah, I think it's things are starting to click for Scott. He's he's comfortable. I think a lot more comfortable playing in the Masters division. And last week, he at the A tier in Missoula, he actually won by it had to be 15 or 20 strokes.
Yeah,
I think we said it was 20 or 25 strokes.
Something like that.
He crushed, and he's been playing. He came down to my event a month and a half ago, and it was his second Masters event, and he won that. Seems like he's learning to win again, and being out on the road, playing every day and playing events week in and week out, your game just continues to grow. And I think, to talk about myself a little bit, my game right now, I feel like usually I'm out on the road, going out to the West Coast, playing tournaments on my way there, tournaments on my way back, and it's building up, and my game is not there right now. I'm flying to these tournaments, coming home, and
so you're blaming your family for your poor play, is what you're doing. If Ashley's there, I hope she can hear this. Ashley,
your unborn child, you're already blaming. Wow, that's a dad move.
It's such a common thing for golfers to talk about, and this little family stuff that first kid or even that that marriage in general. Sometimes you'll see players' ratings drop because it becomes a secondary thing for a while, until your kid gets a little old enough where you feel comfortable just leaving them with mom, and mom's not going to resent you. And present company excluded. Terry's wife will always resent her. So you'll see that, and once your kid gets old enough and you can start bringing him or her out, and whoever it is, you can that'll turn around. But you are fortunate where your wife plays,
and she understands the game of golf,
exactly,
and everything that goes along with high-level tournament play. A lot of significant others, I don't think, fully understand all of that nearly as well as your amazing wife does.
Yep.
She is very amazing, and while we're on the subject, it is her birthday tomorrow, her 30th birthday. So, happy early birthday to her, and
I'll give her the big hug.
Yeah, me too. So big hugs, Ashley.
Yep.
I'll relay those to her for you guys.
Thanks.
But yeah, back on to Stokely. He's just finding his form and getting better, and he's he's turning some heads. I'm impressed. I wasn't sure if he was gonna hop in and win some national tours or anything, but hey, Masters side, that's nothing to shake your head at. It was a great weekend of shooting, and he did end up. I believe they started their round. They didn't tee off on hole 1. It's Beaver State Fling does something interesting. Well, they do tee times on 2 different holes, and they started out on the back, which like hole 10 or 11. So as soon as they finished their round, him and Patrick, I believe, hopped right back on, and Patrick bogeyed the first hole, and Scott got a par and got himself a nice victory.
Yeah, we reached out to Scott to see if he could make it tonight, and he's busy. He's doing a clinic or something along those lines. But I want to ask him if he's just more comfortable in the Masters, if there's less pressure to think that you don't have to be perfect every shot, that maybe you have a little bit of leeway in the Masters field, whereas in the open field, there's almost no room for error if you want to be up there and compete. Where the Masters, you might play a little to the shade once in a while, as they say.
Well, a few numbers that I just crunched quickly. Stokely's rated 983, which we all know. If you're 983 and on the national tour in the Open division, you're eating ramen and not cashing basically every weekend at 983. Solid player, but you're not. If you're cashing on the national tour with your 983 rating, you are paying $150 to $200 to play, and you're maybe winning $150 or $200, generally speaking. Yeah. But Stokely, who's rated 983, played all 4 rounds above his rating, and then averaged for the entire weekend, the same as Patrick, with 1017. So to speak to Patrick's rating, he's rated 1014, and he basically played at his rating all weekend. Yep. But Stokely played above his rating and averaged 1017 on the weekend. That's a full 30 points higher than what he's rated. So, like you said, or maybe there'll be a movie how Stokely got his groove back.
I think you're going to see his player rating jump significantly in the next 3 to 4 months. I wouldn't be surprised if he's pushing 990, 995, maybe even cresting that 1,000 mark pretty soon, relatively speaking. By September maybe. Once all these rounds catch up.
So is that 5 for 5 or 6 for 6 in the Masters field, Dana? Did you do any research? I'm gonna guess at that.
Yep, that's 5 or 6
in a row.
So, but yeah, and I was actually talking to Shasta, Chris. We played our final round together, and we were talking. He would have been on the. He's gonna be be able to play Masters next year. We were talking about playing Open versus Masters, and he says I would be on the lead card right now if I was playing Masters. And so interesting stuff though. And while we're on that, I did play with Shasta last round. Neither of us played all that great. He played a solid round. I played a terrible round, but it was tough to cash in the Open side. He actually missed cash by a stroke, and I think he averaged right around 10-10. Shot some, really, really solid rounds. Nothing super outstanding, but it was a little bit of a surprise when I saw him afterwards with the 25 or so other swimmers, and he said, "Yeah, didn't cash. I think I'm one out." So so big hug to Shasta for missing out there, and solid shooting. I'm gonna call it right now. You're gonna go from no cash this weekend to winning the King of the Lake this next weekend. That's my call.
Wow, that's a big SmashBoxxTV Dana Vici bump right there. I like it.
Yeah.
No pressure, Shasta. No pressure.
So that sums up Beaver State pretty well, huh? We're done. We don't need to.
Yeah, no,
I think nothing else really happened.
Covers
who was first out of cash, and I didn't cash. So what else?
No one cares about anybody else. They really care about how you did, Dana.
You and Shasta.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, my best round of the weekend was my first round, and it was actually McFly filmed it. It's out on the Prodigy YouTube page, so if anyone wants to watch it, I played a really solid round there, and unfortunately from there, I slowly got worse and worse, and then during the final round, lost my disc,
On
lost
the first
my
hole?
drive on the very first hole.
Dana.
You know, usually I play my best when that happens.
When you lose your drive.
When you lose your drives, that's your best play.
Yeah. Usually I turn it on or something, but no, I didn't.
That's a
And,
big Sky Anheuser, isn't it? That I think I saw that in one of the videos that I watched. Was all the pros
Yeah.
throwing a giant Anheuser? I don't know. The video I watched, all their discs showed up.
Yeah.
They were all pretty much near the basket. So
Well, my disc actually did show up after I went up and re-teed. Kale was up there and he's like, "What did you tell me?" And he walked right down and found it.
Oh.
So I did get my disc back.
Now, was Kale acting a little squirrely at the time, or was that post? I think I saw a post on the Instagram today
the Instagram.
of Paul Oman, who has officially changed his Instagram following. So make sure you're all abreast of that and caught up with it. It now says like the tall Paul
The tall woman.
or something like that. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
tall woman.
So
The
he's
tall woman.
changed it instead of the PO whatever it was, probably his PDGA number, so no one knew who he was on Instagram. But it looked like an image of Kale feeding some nuts to a squirrel with his mouth. Is that what I saw? And was that a pro move?
That would I would say that would be a rookie move. Yes, there's a picture. You guys will have to go out there and follow Paul Oman on Instagram. I don't know if the pictures made it to Facebook yet. Kale was, and I know Kale, he wasn't too thrilled that there was a picture, but I kind of showed Paul on the iPhone how you can, go back and get pictures that were deleted, because Kale actually deleted the picture. And,
Oh, jeez.
Ouch.
yes. So he a little embarrassed or something. But
Pics didn't happen, and even if they're deleted pics,
Yeah,
and if I saw it, so the whole world saw it.
Yeah.
Sorry,
right.
Kale.
Yeah, I couldn't. Sorry, Kale, I couldn't sidestep the question. But yes, he was. So we were getting ready to. We were gonna go float the Clackamas at Milo and hanging out over by one of the island holes, one after the Genius hole, and there's this fat squirrel. Coincidentally, the same fat squirrel that was hanging out there yesterday when I was putting, and Tim Skellinger fed it a little piece of an apple, but not out of his mouth or hand. He set it on the ground and let this fat little scavenger squirrel eat it. And our Kale, being the lover that he is, wanted to feed the squirrel some nuts the next day.
What a sweetie. What
And,
kind of nuts? Are we talking regular peanuts, almonds, they What are we talking?
I think they
Sunflower
were,
seeds.
I don't know, some
Tiny?
heady nuts they all had. But
Okay.
so I went to go change into my swimming trunks, and I jokingly turn around and I say, "Hey Kale, why didn't you play the Beaver State Fling?" "Well, a squirrel bit my right hand and cut up my hand real bad." And just I turn around and I come back, and there's this Paul's acting weird, and Kale's sitting in the car. I'm like, "What's going on?" I'm like, something good happened? And I'm
Probably
like,
not.
Did someone get a Tinder match? What's going on here? What happened? And he's like, "No, definitely not." And Kale stands up, and there's blood all over. He's got a towel. The squirrel got squirrely on him, and right here gave him a little scratch or bite or something along those lines. So I quickly acted and got on Google and found out that squirrels generally don't carry rabies. If they get rabies, they die. So he's safe on that part. So we went down and to the rangers, the park station, and got it cleaned out and all that. And it was pretty funny.
So what's more of a rookie move? Feeding the squirrel with your mouth or with your throwing hand?
My exact question. I was trying to get it out.
And to follow up on that, while he was feeding out of his hand, apparently it actually nibbled on his hand too. So,
Yep.
so he went ahead and went with it. He's gonna kill me.
Hey, first of all, this isn't you. Second of all, it was on Instagram, and third of all, he never shows up for this show, so he's not going to kill you.
Yeah, he's not going to know. He'll never find out. He doesn't listen. He's probably not going to show up. So
yeah, so we don't have to worry about it. Him and Smashbox the worlds don't collide. Albeit we tried, the worlds just don't seem to collide. So you're good. You're in the clear.
But no, he cleaned it out all week and watched it, and it's just a little scratch now.
Yeah,
It's
I did see a picture of him on Facebook today with his back to the camera, and he kind of had his arms out extended, saying "big thank you" to everybody at in Portland or wherever he was at. But I don't think he's gonna show many pictures of his face for a few days, probably.
And that guy's got a really pretty face, from what people have said. So that's too bad that he'd put it nose to nose with a squirrel. And let the squirrel reach out and give him a not so big hug to his lip.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, lesson learned, kids.
What's that?
I said lesson learned, kids. Those are the things you learn on the tour. Don't feed squirrels.
Or probably let's extend that. Don't feed any wild animal with your throwing hand or your mouth.
Yep.
Good call.
Offhand,
Good call.
No mouth.
Yes.
Offhand, no mouth. Okay.
Yep.
That makes sense.
Yep, I think I've given that pro tip before, reaching in the water for a disc.
Yep.
But now it's offhand. So, well, let's finish up this Beaver State Fling talk. I do want to say thank you to the Jeffs that run the Beaver State Fling. They're amazing staff. Mike Downs, Mike Downs was the only PDJ employee there this weekend. Usually they have a couple. Medium Marty couldn't make it out. He had a wedding. So Mike was working extra hard. He did a great job out there. But the whole tournament staff, it's a lot of players and a lot of time, and they did a great job. They do put on a really great world-class event. So thank you for that. Onto the open side. We heard about who didn't cash. We heard about Shasta almost cashing. So almost winning. Ricky Wysocki and Nate Doss both finished the tournament one stroke out of first place.
Nate Doss shooting the second hottest round on Sunday's play to finish one stroke out of first place.
Yeah.
That's who shot the hottest round?
Paul Macbeth.
Oh, yeah. So Saturday night, I retire to my pillow at some point, and I see Macbeth is down 4 strokes on these very challenging courses to Will Schusterek. And even crazier than that, he's not in second place down 4 strokes. He's like down the list all the way like 7th or 8th with
I
some
think
ties.
technically bottom. They called him bottom of the second card. Technically.
Yeah.
So it's rare to see anyone's name on top, and then to literally have to like look down more than 2 spots, 1 or 2 spots, to go all the way to the bottom of the second card, as Johnny V said. And there was Macbeth 4 strokes out of first.
Yeah.
I'll say this, and I told this to Terry on the phone when we spoke about it the other night. Being down 4 strokes to Will, the way Will's been playing, I kind of, and clearly wrongly, counted Paul out. I just thought he's just not going to come and get it. Unfortunately, maybe he'll come close, but just the way Will's been playing, and Will's kind of found his game and his putt. Congratulations to whoever wins. I didn't necessarily think it was going to be Will. It could have been, I think Stevie was up there. Rico was up there. I didn't necessarily count Will as a winner, but I didn't count Paul as a winner. I will say that flat out. I did not expect Paul to make that kind of move.
Yeah. Well, his move started on the Genius hole, really, which is this really neat par 4. It is one that if you got a really huge rip, you can get down and get yourself a putt. And Paul got himself a good drive, and then I'm not sure if he putted it in. I haven't seen the video, but I think he threw a short shot in for the eagle too. And then you walk back and you play along the road, the shorter par 4 island hole,
which is where the squirrel was, right?
Yes. This is Kale's hole.
Yeah.
We'll call it the squirrel hole.
Yep,
the squirrel hole. And you can really, you can get aggressive and try to get down there and get a putt. And Paul did it. He ripped one down there and hit a putt and went eagle. So 2-2, and that was the catalyst for to get his round going and to really make that move. That's 2 huge 2s in a row, and even with that said, it really almost wasn't enough. Shoestrick on the 17th hole, which is a really tough, it's a pro par 3, I call it, a gold level par 3. You have to throw a really tremendous shot and usually hit a putt. You're not too often are you getting up there inside the circle. I know Drew Gibson was throwing a cut roller that was getting himself up there, and then there is a high gap that is very, very aggressive. You have to throw a flex shot and have it finish left, and that's the most aggressive shot on the hole. And then there's the low shot where is more or less you're playing for the 3. You have to throw a 400-foot plus straight shot or a shot that finishes to the right into the open because there's woods on the left. So we're on that hole, the lead card, and Shoestrick has the lead, and he's one over Wysocki on his card. Wysocki tries a forehand roller, rolls into the woods. Shoestrick stays with his game plan of trying to birdie it, I believe, and throws an aggressive shot where he might not necessarily needed to, but the lead card was still on 18. He may have been anticipating a birdie out of Paul Macbeth, but Schuster went for an aggressive shot, and it cost him. He ended up taking the bogey 4 on 17, which is real. If you're playing it for the 3, especially when you're Will Schuster and you can throw an M3 400 feet dead straight on a rope every single time, or his forehand, like Will's forehand is incredible right now. It's when you guys start seeing these videos or start seeing them out there in your hometowns or whatever, you're gonna be like, wow, I did not know Will Schuster had a forehand like that.
I don't think I've ever seen him throw a forehand in general.
Oh wow, his forehand. I agree. His forehands are phenomenal.
I agree. I don't doubt it. I'm just saying I don't think I've ever seen him. I mean, I don't watch a lot of videos, but yeah.
So essentially, what I'm saying is, there on 17, he went for it, went for the birdie, I suppose, and someone correct me if I'm wrong if he did try to go the lower gap, but I was told that he did go for the high gap and try to get the 2, but he ended up 4-ing it and moving on to 18. He needed to get the birdie for the win, and he threw a pretty solid shot on 18 and had maybe a 45 to 50 foot putt, and he gave it a great run. It kind of came in and caught the backside of almost the right backside of the band and rolled about 25 feet. And so he's been putting a lot better this year. And so I knew that, last year Will definitely struggled with his putt as we saw at the USDGC. He finished it to close it out. And that's kind of how his year went putting last year. It was just holding him back. But this year, again, with the forehand, he's been throwing it great. His putt's been looking great. He canned the comebacker, and it almost came out the backside.
Yeah.
You watch the video. You'll see him let out a really big smile because it was really close to cutting through and handing over the victory to Paul. So
Now, he just waited 3 more holes for that.
yeah, and then Wysocki actually had a little bit of a closer putt, and he missed it. So Wysocki could have pushed himself to 30 under par into a tie with Paul and Will, but Rick missed. So as I said, him and Nate tied one back of first place. So we went on to a playoff. Hole 1, that awesome hole where I lost my drive earlier the day.
It's a big Sky Anheuser is what it is.
Yep.
Yeah, a blind.
Yep,
A blind Sky Anheuser. You're shooting you're shooting like a small opening in a bunch of trees.
Yes, and I will, even though we had a spotter, I will definitely send a spotter from my group from now on. I've learned my lesson there, or I'll throw a better shot. But so Macbeth threw the big Sky Annie, and I was told I didn't make it down there in time. He got a really nice kick towards the basket. Schustrick had to make a putt, which he did. Paul made his. They move on to hole 2, which is another Sky Anheuser of sorts. It's much tougher to get. It's a very well guarded green, and it's up on a hill in the woods. So Paul had the box, puts it at the base of the hill, roughly 35 feet, maybe 30 feet, and Will crashes in a great shot and ends up on top, which is really hard to get up top, but he ended up top, and I actually think he might have been out, but Macbeth went first, jams the putt, and Schustrick's got roughly a 35, maybe a few feet longer, a few feet less putt, and the wind's coming up from the hill. It's a low ceiling, and he rifles it in there and jams the putt. It was a really awesome putt. I was sitting right there watching it, and it's pretty exciting. So we go on to the next hole, and Macbeth he plays the backhand shot on that hole, which is it's not the cleanest way to get to the basket. The cleanest way is the forehand route, and but Paul threw the backhand, got it down there within the circle. Schustrick played the forehand and kind of kept it tight. Had a long look, missed it, and Macbeth does what he does and cashed it for the win.
So here's my question.
It was an exciting finish.
Here's my question for you, Dana. Here's a scenario. You are in first place at an NT.
Yeah.
Let's just say course par between 58 and 60. How many strokes do you need ahead of Paul to feel safe? 6? 7?
12?
I mean, in general, I mean, you are one of the, you're one of the top pros out there right now. At what point do you guys look back and go, whew, well, finally, I don't have to deal with that guy? I mean, because clearly 4 strokes isn't enough. And
Yeah,
obviously the type of course, it depends on whether it's a little bit more of a, but I can't, again, I counted it. I felt bad, but I counted him out. And I was wrong. So where do the other pros stand at that? I mean, how about you?
Well, I mean, everyone's got it. You have to know that Paul's out there. It's kind of the Tiger Woods stuff. He's been he's won tournaments from behind. He's won from being leading from the first day on, and it's I don't know. I don't think that they're. I hope they're not letting that get into their mind, get into their head or think about it. But I'm lucky. The one NT that I was in contention for last year, Macbeth wasn't there, so I didn't have to worry about that.
So you're saying he has to not be there for you to not worry about him?
And even then, there's somehow he could.
He's gonna show up and
telepathically, beat you. What I wanted to speak to, and this follows right along those lines of another level. Out of the top 16 players, or the top 16 people that were recorded in cards 1 through 4, on the Genius hole, as you talked about, which you felt like was kind of the catalyst, he was already 5 under par going into that hole. Out of the top 16 players, and you could probably extrapolate this out throughout most of the field, he was the only Eagle 2 out of the top 16 players on that day.
And it was a putt, by the way. I watched it.
Yeah, it was like 80, 90, 100 feet.
Yeah, it looked like he almost missed it because it came in high, just under the band, and fell in. And you could see how excited he was.
Yeah, and so out of the top 16 players at the event, there was literally just one eagle two, and that was by him. And then you go to the next hole, and obviously, as you said, he's carried that momentum over. And with, I would say, a similar distance putt, maybe a little bit shorter, he, again, out of the top 16 players, the only one to eagle it. So not only does he eagle one hole that nobody else, presumably gets, but then he follows it up the very next hole and eagles a hole almost nobody gets as well.
Now, how many people do you have those scores up right
Well,
now?
I'm looking at him.
Okay, now
yeah.
how many people didn't on the top 16 right there did not birdie those? Only a couple?
Good question. Yeah, on the Genius hole, of the top 16 players, Paul Macbeth excluded, of course, 14 out of 15 took a 3.
Yeah.
So it's birdieable, clearly. If you're a solid player, you should be
cool
threeing
hole.
it.
It's not one of the holes out there at Milo. And Milo's, looking at the scores, it played a lot harder than I thought it would. Usually the winner's coming in averaging a little bit lower scoring-wise, but there's a lot of gold level par 3s and out there, and holes that are really hard to score on, but the Genius hole is definitely, it's more of a cool factor than a hard, even though I took a 6 on it final round.
Oh my god. You didn't have to tell us that. You were doing so well. Everything was going great. We talked about 14 out of 15 people birdied it, Macbeth eagles it, and then you have to just pour that into our cereal and tell us you took a 6 on it.
Yeah. If my lost disc 5 on hole 1 wasn't the catalyst for my terrible round,
that was the nail in the coffin for your tail.
The circle 6 on Genius hole, followed by the circle 5 on the next hole.
Okay, stop.
Stop. My catalyst.
Stop. So, and then, as we said, we go over to hole 10, which was birdied now, we'll say 12 out of 15 times, roughly, or 11 out of 15 times. So still very birdieable with a 3. There was also a 4 by Sexton, a 5 by Crabtree, a couple other 4s out there, which are pars. But Paul, again, the only guy, arguably in the top 16 that were present at the event, he takes back-to-back eagles on 2 holes that no one else eagles, and he does it back-to-back. That's another level.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Incredible. That was when I actually popped up, we had a backup, and I popped up the live scoring during my round, which I usually don't have my phone out, but I wanted to see what was going on, so I popped it and saw it, and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
He's doing it.
Yeah, God, I don't know. I was thinking, like, put myself in the lead card position. Would I want to check live scores? Like, would I want to know where Paul is, knowing that he's within striking distance? Would I want to know? Like, I would think I would.
Like, yeah, you have to, because speaking on hole 16, or hole 17 where Will did take the bogey. I would say that's a hole where. If you got the lead, and you might want to consider just playing it for the par. But again, that's everybody's different. We talked over and over about Jonny McRae at USCGC having the lead and not laying up and staying with his game plan. So we don't know. Will, that may have been Will's highest percentage shot. The one he feels most comfortable with. That's the one I tell people to throw. You go throw your shot and stick to your game plan. But whew.
Yeah, that's tough because, play pretend he throws a shot, somehow worm burns it, takes a 5, as opposed to going over the top and taking a 4. There's so many second guesses. Odds are he's not going to, but you just don't know. You can't. It's hard to put blame on a particular hole. I'm sure there are 2s that he missed out there that he wants, and Macbeth can say the same thing. I'm sure there's a couple 2s out there that he didn't get.
Well, and to speak to it, and there's some chatter on the board, and I appreciate them, Brett Comensoli from Illinois bringing up some great points and looking at the scores. Out of 16 guys, the top 16 players, I just put so much emphasis on what Paul did in those top 16 players on 9 and 10. Hole 17, the 2 bogeys on that hole in the top 16 were by the 2 guys you just mentioned, Schusterich and Wysocki. So that definitely tells you, sure, there could have been a mental lapse, but what I think that tells you is there was an extra level maybe of aggression by them in trying to go after that birdie, because out of 16 players, they were the only 2 to bogey it. Now, you go down further in the list, and I'm sure there were other bogeys, but that does say a lot. And there were very few birdies on that hole. Jason Heim being one of the only guy that forward hole 9, the genius hole. But Jason Doss and Nate Doss and Simon Lizotte. Yeah, Jason Herm. So there were only 3 2s on that hole out of the top 16 and only 2 bogeys. But the 2 bogeys were both on the leader card. So if there was an odds maker in Vegas, like, you would not have said, oh, out of the top 16 players, there's 2 bogeys on any card. You would likely not have said, oh, that'll be on the leader card. So I think it's worth talking about. I mean, as you said, people need to go out and play their game and stick to the game plan. But the numbers here, if you look at them, the numbers kind of tell you a little bit of a different story.
And Brett Comincioli is saying that he went, and Simi's talking about Will, went 2-2-3-4.
On 17 throughout the weekend.
On hole 17 throughout the weekend. So his odds at that point, he was 2 for 3 getting birdies on that, or getting 2s on that.
Yeah.
So you walk up, you think, all right, well, I got it 2 out of 3 times. Worst case, I'm probably going to take a 3 on it.
Well, actually, how many times do we play that course?
So Brett's...
Oh, so Brett's maybe looking at the wrong
course.
But still...
he did. I believe he did 2 it earlier on the first day we played it. Because we play that course the first day.
Okay.
We played both courses the first day, one Saturday and one Sunday.
Okay, so he still 2'd it. So he walked up 1 for 1 on that one, thinking he 2'd it.
Yeah.
So, and then he comes up and 4s it. I mean, that's just what happens.
And again, kind of to the point that we just talked about briefly, Peter is on the board talking about, he says, I'm not sure why everyone makes the assumption that Will knew he had to just go par to win. Like you said, do you want to know the scores? In this day with the technology, not only do we have the leaderboards that are usually on the leader card, of course, through the PDGA, but then also they were probably on the second card, I'm going to assume, Dana, maybe you could clarify. But a player in this day and age versus 10 years ago in the PDGA couldn't just simply look around during a backup and see where the second card is at. Or if they really want, they can check on their mobile device and know exactly where things are at. So whether you want to or not is your call, but those are now options. Those weren't options 10 years ago.
They're 5 years ago, for crying out loud. And then on top of that, so you're Will Schusterich, as we said. Paul has yet to play hole 18. You're sitting on hole 17.
Yeah.
You're thinking, all right, if I, maybe he was thinking I can
he's thinking he's got a birdie 17 or 18, and 18s are really hard too.
Yeah.
You got to hit. So I mean, that assuming Macbeth's gonna birdie 18, if his best shot is to birdie, to throw that aggressive high line on 17, then do it.
Yep.
And he's, like if you guys are watching the videos, just Will's, he's quietly having a really, really, really good season, and I could see him winning some more big tournaments this year, and but I mean Macbeth, he's doing it though. So time will tell.
If there's one guy to dial it in come USDGC, we all know that's Will Schusterich, being the 3-time USDGC
Will just
champion.
peaks in the season a little later than everybody else, and
he's like you said though, Dana. He's had an impressive year. He's been at different places than some of the other pros, so he's gotten these wins. He's picked up other wins when he wasn't out at the Masters Cup, for example, but winning on the other side of the country. And
he's been dominating Tennessee.
Yeah, there's been other places that there's no doubt about it. Him and Wysocki, while he's healthy, or when he has been healthy, and Macbeth, it almost seems like the 3 of them are on a slightly higher level right now. Would that be fair to say? Not that Doss isn't having a great year, but
I would definitely give the nod to obviously Shoestrick and Macbeth. Not obviously, but Ricky. Remember, he's got the new bag.
Mm-hmm.
New. That's not. We don't know. How exactly if he has all has it all figured out yet, all dialed in. He's one of the best players in the world, and he's going to throw the discs great no matter what discs they are. But at the same time, it does take some time to really trust and know and to lean on your favorite disc when you've got 100 molds and plastics to choose from. So I think and then like he had the car crash, so that could have set him back a little bit as well. But having the new plastic, I think that might be one thing that's slightly holding Ricky back at the moment. But he's just going to continue to get better with time. So
it will be an interesting battle as it continues throughout just the national tour, and obviously come Worlds time and the intensity that Worlds brings with all of those rounds, none of which are easy. And that we'll say more marathon style golf, 6 rounds plus a semis plus a finals. I hear some people play all those rounds. I don't usually worry about all of those.
You haven't worried about those in a while.
I don't got time for that. But Worlds not being, and then plus we're gonna see a lot of these players travel overseas, and the toll that's going to take on them, not just to necessarily get there to perform well, play in the President's Cup, as we talked with Ulibarri last week, but then they need to return. And after they're over there for 10, 12, 14 days and they're
going to get a week, maybe 2 to practice the World's courses, depending on when they come back.
Mm-hmm.
And right now listen, what's today? Tuesday?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Monday,
that's when we do podcast, Dana.
All right, so from the final putt dropping at Beaver State Fling to the first drives going over the pond at Maple Hill, that's 11 days. That's coast to coast.
Yeah, literally
that's not,
coast to coast. Yeah.
That's not that's not an easy trip, and then a lot of players trying to play in between. It's a bit of a grind right now, and then like you guys said, going overseas. I know last week Macbeth opted to not play in the Fort Steilacoon Open. He's already had a really busy schedule. Him and Sexton doing the McBeast stuff multiple nights a week. That's a lot of work, and a lot of pros out there aren't doing. They'll do some extra side stuff, but that takes a toll on you right there too. Doing all the clinics, and it's a lot. So it'll be interesting to follow.
Yeah, I'm excited, and maybe we're a little more in tune than normal. Normally, we're following the tour. We're excited. The year's going on, but with us doing a weekly show, I think that kind of puts it in our face that much more to realize the significance of what's going on out there. And to think about the daily and weekly grind that all of these players are having, and to know it's mid-June and there's a lot of season and a lot of golf left, including some of our biggest titles to be won with the World Championships, the USDGC. Obviously, Maple Hill is one that everybody would love to have, being another, and then the Europe and the events going on over there. There's a lot of golf. And we're just getting heated up, I think. Yeah,
there's talk out on the board, and we could discuss this later, but that Paul is coming up close, or it looks like he may come close to beating Nico's money record earning in a season. And all I keep thinking is, like, it feels like Paul has a light year.
He does.
Like if Paul wanted to break that, if that was a record he cared about, I think he could smash it.
Yeah,
and he's just doing his thing, and Paul's not out there out playing the tournaments so much for the money. I think he's doing fine, but it's I mean, if he gets it, he gets it. He doesn't, he doesn't. But
he'll get it.
You think so? For sure, another 15,000.
It's
this year.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
Are you assuming
it's a done deal?
It's a done deal.
I will wager all of Paul's money, all of the money he will or won't win. I will wager that he will have no problem beating that. Okay. Absolutely no problem. He takes third at the rest of events that he plays in this year, he's still going to get it. And again, you hit on it perfectly. A light year. I keep reverting back to my conversations with him right after the USDGC of last year, and him saying, I'm going to trim back tournaments.
Yeah.
I'm going to play in the biggest ones that I really want to focus on, that I want to win, that, those are my concerns. So, he takes a weekend off. No other players are doing that voluntarily.
Well,
but I'll say it. He's not out there playing for the money.
No.
He's got a lot of support, but yeah.
At the same time, he just zigzagged across the country to go back to Oklahoma to play in an A tier, in Oklahoma, instead of staying out on the West Coast.
Sure.
He says these, he said that to you, that he's scaling back and doing these things, but then again, he sometimes doesn't, and drove an extra how many thousand miles and extra.
But part of that is his home life. I mean, going back to Oklahoma,
he's doing what he wants to do.
Yeah, he's doing what he wants to. He wants to be closer to home more often, and then just go win events. I mean, he's trying to have the best of both worlds. Most people can't do that. Paul can't, seemingly.
Yeah, I don't know. I will say this right now. He's going to have no problems taking the money title home. Again, I don't think it's something he's going after. He probably even cares about. Because if he cared about it, he could play a couple extra weekends. If that was a specific title that I think he's concerned about. We also have to say it's a little bit of inflation, because clearly, no matter, even if you won every single tournament 10 years ago and then you went back and won those same 10 tournaments this year, there's just going to be more money there, period. At least a little.
A little. I mean, as we've seen the past 10 or 15 years, purses haven't shot up. We went through a point where they were building, but then everyone started paying deeper. There was the top, used to pay top third, now you pay 40%. So the money's been spread out a little bit over the past 10 to 15 years. And I don't know when Nico won.
I think they were saying 2010.
2010, so about 4 or 5 years ago. So the money isn't that much more significant than it was then. And I'm assuming that's the year. Is that the year Nico won USDGC?
No, he won that. Maybe he did. I don't know.
Anyway, I guess it doesn't really matter. But.
Yeah. Anyway, that's not his concern, and I think he's doing okay off of the course, as others have said, between sponsorships and other endorsements and other things he's got going on. He's concerned with titles and winning certain events and being where he wants to be family-wise. He doesn't need to be certain places at certain times if he doesn't want to be. I think that's his take on it.
So, Dana, let's talk about a couple of the other smaller events going on this week. What else do we got?
Down in St. Louis, there was an A-tier, St. Louis Open, and last year at that event, Zachariah Johnson. Thanks for finally getting that Ren Lake video, Terry, where Zachariah wins there.
You're welcome.
He doesn't win the St. Louis Open this year, but he won it last year, his first A-tier win. This year, Zach Melton gets his first A-tier win ever at the St. Louis Open. So I think Zach is a recent Prodigy signee. So congratulations to Zach on the A-tier win. In Peoria, Johnny Harrison, Nate Heinold ran the Ledgestone Insurance Series Plastic Addicts Frenzy, 3 rounds in one day. Doesn't sound that all appealing, but in the end, they needed extra holes between Al Hermosillo and Nate Heinold. Al ended up winning after a couple hole playoff, so congrats to Al. Nice try, Nate. And then out on the East Coast, Keelan Dune takes down the Maple Hill Open Am side. So he will now be joining the Champions Showcase card at Maple Hill next week. How excited are you guys for that?
I may get more excited here in a moment if you can answer this question correctly, or for me. Is Keelan the kid that I think he is? Like the 15 or 16-year-old that caddied for Macbeth a couple years ago?
Yeah.
Was it Macbeth?
Yeah.
That
he
kid...
caddied for Macbeth, I think a tournament and a half before being relieved of his duties.
That kid... I'm smiling ear to ear because that kid is pure entertainment. He is.
Why was he relieved of his duties? Was he just too distracting?
No, I don't. I don't know if that Paul was playing well or whatever, but anyway, I maybe shouldn't have. But
Okay, all right. So there's a story, and then we won't get into it. Maybe just
no, I don't know the story, but anyways, he won, and so he's gonna be on the showcase card if I saw that correctly.
That's possible. I guess actually I don't know. We should catch up with Steve Dodge and find out exactly. Has he released tee times and assignments or pulled them out of a hat or whatever he does yet?
He definitely has released the tee times.
I feel betrayed here. That should have been a Smashbox production of sorts. That would I mean, there's nothing more exciting than watching this guy in poor lighting pull names out of a hat and and put them. I mean, we could have been part of that this year, Johnny. That's all.
Yeah, we could have been.
Yeah. So, all right, I'm looking at it at 2:00. We've got the Squirrel Boy, Cal LaVisca, Keelan Dune, Big Germ, and Paul Macbeth. So Keelan will not be caddying for Paul this year.
Well, he could double duty.
He will be playing with him.
Okay. Wow, that is pretty exciting.
It's a couple steps up.
Well, congratulations, Keelan. Again, I met him, talked with him. I know I have some video that either was released or maybe I included it in a podcast or not. I did speak with him though. And it's part of the accent that gets me, just from his sheer, geography. But he's hilarious. He makes me laugh, and I think it'll be funny. He's younger. I think he was 15 when I last spoke to him, and I don't remember if that was 2 years ago or last year. So he's under 18, and he's funny. So that should be interesting to see.
Yeah.
All right. So on the AM side, very exciting stuff over there. I think did we see Tom McManus, a good friend in Smashy and Illinois, shared Illinois friend of ours? Was he out there, Dana? Did you see how he did by chance?
I did not. I know Tom went out last year or the year before and enjoyed himself. So that would be great if he made it back out there again this year. I haven't combed over the results like I normally would have, but yeah. If he did, hopefully he played good.
Yeah, I know he said something about he was wearing his. I think he said he was wearing his Smashbox shirt while he was out there. So super
Nice.
glad to hear that and see that. Dana, let's talk a little bit. You had briefly mentioned Paige Pierce. I think there was actually some kind of a crack or maybe a little bone in her foot that is specifically has been. I don't want to say altered. That's been compromised, and that's been part of her problem, and obviously the reason why she didn't play. I know she's planning on playing this weekend. Hopefully she heals up just fine. But this weekend at the Rocky Mountain Women's event taking place outside of Denver, pretty stacked field of women. I mean, sure, there's 14 or 16 open women, but the ones that are there are pretty darn good. You got any thoughts or predictions on that? And will Paige's foot, be a factor there?
Yeah, I mean, one would have to think that it's going to be a bit of a factor because this would be it bothered her in Missoula where she injured it, and then obviously bad enough where she couldn't go this weekend. I can't imagine that it would be 100% healthy, but at the same time, she was able to walk around and caddy for Madison. I saw her. She wasn't on crutches. She wasn't limping or anything. So that definitely has to be a good sign. We had a nice crew on Sunday night. She was out and having a good time, and foot wasn't holding back there at all. So it just depends on I'm no doctor. Do I look like a doctor?
You're a man of so many skills, it's hard to know what you are or aren't. Well, speaking to that field that I was just referencing, Paige Pierce, Val Jenkins, Sarah Holcomb, and Ragna Big D, all your top 4 rated players there. And then obviously right behind them with Paige Bjerkes, Karina Knowles, Madison Walker, and Sally West. So, those are your top 8 rated players that are going to be at the event. All amazing competitors and fun, women's groups to be around. So I'm really looking forward to the coverage and taking in this beautiful park. And I think we're actually talking a little bit with Doug Bjerkes, who's going to be running the event. As soon as we get done chatting with you, I think we might dial him up for a few moments and see if he can give us an official preview so we can be a little bit more on point. Have you played out in that area or anything, Dana? Do you have anything to add when it comes to maybe Colorado golf or anything like that?
I don't, unfortunately. I've played a few courses here and there, but I'm not sure where Superior is at, so I can't comment on the course or anything.
Okay. East, we'll get it from Doug, but I believe it's about 15-20 minutes east of outside of Denver. And from some of the pictures I've seen online, just absolutely gorgeous looking property. So it'll be interesting. But probably the most notable, and I know we briefly touched on it last week, most notable top woman player not in attendance, besides maybe Jessica Weiss, then another notable would be Katrina.
No Jessica Weiss, no Katrina, no Jen Allen.
Yes. So
those are the 3 women that are not making it this particular weekend.
And we know that Katrina is going to be attending the Steve Mills Sarah wedding out in Michigan. So she's not going to be there and be present for it. But again, looking forward to a really solid field of competitors out there. 120 women. Amazing.
Wow.
Maybe Ashley will get out there some year when she's not pregnant. Would that be a possibility for her?
Yeah, that sounds like a fun trip.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like
awesome. Dana, you got anything else to add regarding any of the events, past, present, future? Anything else you got to add for us? I see you're sporting the dude wear. You want to give us a really quick rundown of your experience thus far?
Yeah. Got Chris Finn came to the St. Jude event and surprised me with some clothes to test out for him, and so been wearing a lot of the shorts during my tournament rounds, and actually I wore them for my round. One of the tech shorts. They're really light, comfy. I swam in them. Got into town, ate dinner in them, went out in them. They're that nice shorts, and
that might just go to show you where Dana's going out for dinner.
No, they're nice shorts. They're like high quality golf shorts.
Yeah.
And lightweight, but yeah, it's kind of cool that what Dude's doing. They're, it's not just like it's like Nike. It's a golf brand, and it's a clothing line versus like a brand. You know what I mean? Versus Dude all over thing. This is like the actual Dude clothes. So,
yeah, they're producing
cool.
them from scratch, so to speak, or they're working with a clothing manufacturer, and then it's all branding and production. Is really done at his discretion and under his direction.
Right.
So it's very
right.
cool.
So it's, I'm very happy and good friends with Miles and sponsored by Paragon. So it's a different thing than that. It's just the clothing brand, and yeah, I'm enjoying it. And I, as you guys know, and I talk about it quite a bit, I try to, buy from disc golfers and support companies that support disc golf, and this is just another part of that.
Awesome. Your wife chimed in on the message board just to let you know that after you described you wearing them and doing all those things in it, her I think the quote here is gross. So she
doesn't approve. You need to change your clothes at some point, Dan, is what she's saying.
I'm just happy that she's tuned in.
She's not watching Netflix without you or something?
She must have got bored with it. She missed me, so she had to get on YouTube.
That's cute. All right, Dana. Well, we're going to cut you loose. Hopefully in a few moments we're going to talk with Doug Bjerkes, who I've been in communication with for the past few months to bring me out there for the Rocky Mountain Women's event, and we're looking forward to getting a little quick preview on that. So I think we can let you go, buddy.
All right.
All right, boys, Smashies, everybody, thank you for tuning in. Thanks to the Smashies that were at Beaver State Fling that reached out and said hello, and and all that. I love when you guys say hi. So thank you, and we'll see you next time.
All right. Thank you, buddy. Have a great night. Big hugs to Ashley again. All right. And, of course, Dana Vici, as he said, he's not on tour quite as much this year. He's backed off of a couple of events, including the team tournament that took place a few weeks ago, and he's got to be a little bit more selective, and just knowing that little Vici will be here soon. I know he definitely held off on some traveling, and I believe Pro Worlds as well, because I think they are due at the end of July, if I recall. I might be totally wrong. I think they're due at the end of July, with Worlds starting a few weeks or a few days after that. I think that that was made his decision easy as to him not being able to go. So thanks for Dana. Thanks for all the updates. Again, exciting weekend. I don't want to put too much out there, but I will say if there is the opportunity where we're not at an event, we're not covering it live, and I'm not out there in a video blog capacity, we're definitely going to find a way to give you some extended coverage, or maybe some immediate stuff going on right after the event wraps up. I think that's an opportunity that us here at SmashBoxx that we should be taking advantage of, that we'll probably be doing. So again, in the rare chance I'm not at a big event and we're not doing anything live, then we'll find a way to make it happen. So in just a few moments, we're going to see if we can get Mr. Bjerkes on the line. I know that this is what, show production on the fly? Is that what?
Yeah, this is.
That's how we do it here. SmashBoxx, we like to be, agile.
Yeah, we
thinking
can,
on our feet.
We can adjust, when we need to.
We make adjustments. That's what we do. And we're going to see if we can get Doug. I believe he's got a solid internet connection, so hopefully that we can get him on the line here in a moment. Sean on the board asked how Zoe is doing, and she's doing great. She was in the clinic tonight with Scott Stokely. She did have a few specific guidelines that I want to tell you real quickly before we bring Doug on. Zoe had told us earlier, and let me quote her here. She says that Zotron wants everyone to try 30 minutes of golf practice each night till next week, outside of casual rounds or practice play. So go out and really practice. Watch, study, read, buy nice clothes, and practice the goods.
Practice the 4 goods.
The 4 goods. Oh, there we go. Sorry. Practice the 4 goods. So there's Zoe's official update from afar. So sorry you're not here tonight,
She's
Zoe,
actually at a Scott Stokely clinic, which is who we tried to get on. She couldn't wrangle him to get him on. So
understandable.
Yeah, I think she's learning a forehand is what she said or something.
Oh, man, I should be there. All right.
We've tried.
So, and we are going to pull in now in just a moment our co-TD of the weekend, and we'll say father of the famous Paige Bjerkes, Doug Bjerkes.
Haven't you learned your lesson to call people by,
don't qualify them in other ways?
Don't qualify them by other people.
Well, welcome to the show, Doug. How you doing tonight, buddy?
Good, and outstanding pronunciation of the last name. Paige got you trained well a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I think I actually learned it many years ago. It was a unique one, and I figure if I'm going to pretend to be some kind of quasi-journalist, I should do a little research once in a while, make sure I'm on point. So glad you could join us. Thanks for just tuning in and then taking a few verbal cues from the show. Tell us what's going on this weekend. What's in store, not only for me to video blog, but what's in store for the whole world to see?
Well, I tell you what, this will be the 4th RMW DGC that we've had, and with each year it's grown dramatically. We've got a beautiful temp course that is going to be set up Thursday and Friday for everyone to play to warm up for the event. Then on Saturday and Sunday, we'll have, as you mentioned earlier, 120 ladies play the event. And we're just thrilled to see so many women sign up, the way that it filled so quickly. It's just so exciting. 5 years ago, when Ray Woodruff and I decided to try to do a women's event here in Denver, we had no idea that this tournament would grow into what it is today, and it's just fantastic to see so many women playing disc golf, specifically here in the Front Range, and then to have a lot of the touring pros start to take notice of the tournament as well and come out and play is just really exciting. And I think those two really work well together because we've got so many juniors and recs and intermediates playing, but when you have folks like Paige Pierce and Valerie Jenkins show up for the event too, it just adds to the excitement for them. And one of my favorite things to see during the event is a bunch of junior girl golfers with Sharpies in hand and a fresh RMWDGC tournament stamp disc running around getting signatures from top pros. It's just it's a beautiful thing.
Absolutely. Now, talk a little bit about the format, because of the players that you have, the sheer quantity, and then the highlighting that you'll be doing. Talk a little bit about the format that the women are going to see this weekend.
So on Saturday, all divisions will play 2 rounds. And we'll crown our junior division champions, our intermediate champions, and our recreation champions Saturday evening. And that'll be 2 shotgun starts on the course at Purple Park. Then on Sunday, just the advanced divisions and all of the open divisions, and we have a Grandmasters, a Masters, and a open field. They'll play using tee times on Sunday, a single round to determine who will be the champion of those divisions.
Okay, so what I think I took from that is I get to sleep in a little on Sunday. I think that's what I heard.
You do.
Okay,
you do.
okay.
That's right. I think that the lead card will be teeing off sometime between 10:30 and 11 on Sunday. So, you earlier were talking about the travel that folks have to make from Oregon all the way to the Northeast for the Vibram tournament, and we're just glad that Denver is kind of on the way there. But I'm sure that a lot of those touring pros are going to want to get on the road super quick, either Sunday evening or Monday first thing in the morning to get out there. In fact, my daughter Paige has a 5:30 a.m. flight Monday morning to Kansas City, where she's going to hook up with some folks she's riding out to the Vibram with. So I'm looking forward to Monday at about noon when this whole thing is over. Ray Woodruff and I, who have been working so hard on the tournament, will really be satisfied when that time comes.
Yeah, and I guess you're exactly right. I didn't even think about it. I don't know if I'd call it a luxury, but I'm flying out on Sunday night, late Sunday night, 8 or 9 o'clock. I'll be in Milwaukee by midnight, home for not quite 36 hours, and then flying out to the Maple Hill on Tuesday morning. But you're right. I didn't even think about, anyone that's still in Colorado that still needs to venture east. Now, do you know if I'll throw out some names like your Hokum, I assume like Hokum and Paige Pierce, for instance, they drive everywhere. They rarely fly. I assume they're going to be hightailing it, trying to get it to the other side of the country. Do you know if Nate Doss, for instance, is going to be around? If he's going to be with Val, or is she hopping in on a plane and meeting him out east? Do you have any idea on any of that?
Well, I actually do know that Nate Doss will probably be our most decorated caddy at the event. He will be carrying Valerie's bag throughout the weekend, much like he did 2 years ago at our last event, where she won the third RMWDGC back in 2013, and it was exciting to have folks like Nate Doss and Avery Jenkins carrying bags for the ladies that were playing. You don't see that every day.
I think it'd be kind of fun to have Nate caddy for somebody else.
Yeah,
true. Just like more of a random draw, maybe someone on like the third card, or even someone out of the open women division.
Sure.
I think it'd be kind of interesting. That would be a really cool bonus or side thing to have.
Yeah, maybe he could trade with someone first round or something.
Yeah, one of the things we tell our caddies is that, hey, listen, your job is to carry the bag. If you're asked for advice, certainly you can give it, but it is not your job to just spit out a bunch of advice. That's not the role of the caddy in this tournament at all. It's the caddy is there to help, obviously, raise funds for the tournament, which has been incredibly successful. That was one of Ray Woodruff's great ideas 5 years ago when he said, hey, maybe we should have caddies pay to caddy. Let's see how that works. And the rest is history. It's been amazing how much money we've raised for the tournament by having folks caddy for the ladies out there.
Yeah, it's a really good idea, and I'm excited to see it firsthand. I've attended a number of the U.S. Women's Disc Golf Championships, I think 2 or 3 years in a row when it was held down in Peoria, Illinois, with Mom and Old Man Wallace running it down there. Just to see what was taking place and the camaraderie and the women having so much fun. And that was kind of in the early beginnings or early rumblings of women-only events, and it was very successful. Now, your event, I think like the Japan Open and a number of other majors, your event is so huge that you don't feel that you can pull it off every single year. Is that why you've gone to the every other year format, because it's just such a major undertaking?
Yeah, I mean, that's a big part of it. The number of hours that go into having an event of this magnitude. And Terry, we're excited about having you here, because I think you'll see when you leave, you'll go, wow, that is a different kind of event. And we do pour a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into it. We also, in fairness to our mission, which is to grow the sport, specifically female disc golfers, and that is near and dear to my heart, because I spent most of my adult life living with female disc golfers, whether it's my wife or my daughters, and so that's kind of one of the reasons why we did it. But there's another outstanding event, the Women's Global Tournament, which runs every other year as well, and that's done in even years. So our thought was twofold. One, yeah, let's kind of take a break every other year so that we can do something just simply fantastic when we do run the event. And then two, let's really focus on promoting, specifically in our region, the Women's Global event, which does so much to get women involved in tournaments. I mean, I keep hearing from so many of our participants that playing in a women's only event takes so much of the pressure off of them if they were to, sign up for a regular event and maybe be one of two cards that have women on it, and they're sent out to, the furthest hole on the course, and they're not almost treated like second-class citizens in many tournaments. They really like the fact that they are the prime focus of our tournament and other women's events like the Women's Global.
Yeah, and one of the questions that I just came to mind was, are all of the caddies, all 120 caddies, are they all men, or are there a few women, whether it be a mom or a friend or a non-golfing companion or something like that? Are there any non-men playing? Are there any other women caddying, I should say?
Yeah, well, you got to be careful how you phrase that question. Who knows? Mrs. Jenner may at some point be caddying for us, and
Sure.
I wouldn't know how to quite answer that. But,
Okay.
No, that was probably politically incorrect. But anyhow,
It's all right.
Yes, we have had females at caddy, and occasionally we'll have someone that says, I'd prefer not to have a caddy. So that occasionally happens too, but we pride ourselves on always offering a caddy for every player. Now, as the tournament grows, and again, we had no idea that 120 women would sign up in less than 2 days to play this, and we have a wait list with, at one point, I think there were 45 people on the wait list. It does get tougher to be able to guarantee that the bigger the tournament grows, and if you're not conducting the tournament close to a major metropolitan area, like for instance Denver, as we've looked at other courses where we might be able to hold the event, we have to think about that. Is that an area where we could get 120 plus, or in 2 years from now 180 plus guys that will all be willing to, or not always guys as we mentioned before, but folks that would be willing to caddy. So the tournament changes every year, and we look at new things that we can do, and we'll see what happens with the next one.
So I've run enough tournaments as a temporary layout, whether it's on a ball golf course or in other places, or maybe a place where we hope to have eventually a permanent course. But with this being a temporary course, what made your mind up to put that much more extra effort and energy and work into doing it? Because when you do a temporary course for a tournament, no matter whether it's 18 or 24 holes or 13 holes, no matter what it is, it's always a ton of extra work. Or 36 temporary holes at the St. Jude event. Yeah. It's a ton of extra work. How did you guys arrive at that decision?
Well, Denver is a great disc golf town. It's got some amazing organizations that support disc golf, whether it be the Mile High Disc Golf Club, Throw Colorado. There's tons of great organizations that support disc golf. Unfortunately, a lot of people think of Denver, and it's very beautiful, and it's got a lot of great things going for it. But the quality of courses we have in Denver, most people would agree with me from Denver that we don't have a bunch of super courses, and we wanted to put this tournament on a course that people would go, wow, that's a really special course, without having to go too far into the mountains or too far away from Denver, where again we start to lose some of our draw as far as caddies go. So we looked at a couple different options, and Ray worked very, very hard with the city of Superior. It's a beautiful park, Terry. When you get here, you'll see it's got 3 ponds on it. It's got lush trees, lush grass. It's a really good park setting course. We said, hey, if they're willing to work with us, let's do it there. Plus, it's also very special for another way to draw caddies in is that they get to play the course on Thursday and Friday. And as you guys know, as avid disc golfers, whenever there's a temp course set up, everyone's chomping at the bit to get out there and play it, and that helps us too. It also helps that every single basket we'll use, part of the challenge of a temp course is getting the baskets. And, I've played temp courses where you've got, 17 different types of baskets out there, 3 of them with cloth, a couple of them without chains, and one's an imaginary post or something. So having all the same baskets is really important. And we actually had every basket on this course was paid for by a sponsor who then gets to take the basket home with them after the event. And that's a beautiful thing. That's worked out now for us twice. And that's a model that really helps make the temporary course a little easier to pull off when those baskets are paid for. It's kind of cool, too, because everyone who has one of those baskets can say, hey, Valerie Jenkins made 3 putts on this basket. Paige Pierce made 3 putts on this basket, and it's in my backyard. So, if I'm playing it, I've attempted probably 12 putts on that basket over a couple of rounds. But that's another story.
No, I saw some photos of the baskets, and again, another very creative idea in terms of getting the baskets there, being able to afford them for the event, but then have them turn around and actually have a home to go to, as soon as the event wraps up. Again, very good idea. So I have to ask, because I haven't been out there yet to experience it fully, who's the brains here? Is it you or Ray? Was there one of you that's smarter than the other? You can tell us.
It's clearly Ray. Trust me.
Okay.
It's clearly Ray.
So you're the looks. So Ray's the brains, you're the looks. Nice.
Well, I want to check those glasses. Ray and I have worked on this from day one. So together, I don't think it could have worked with just one of us doing it. And we both have different skill sets, and we use those together. And up to this point, we've pulled off what most people have said have been some pretty good events. And we're hoping that this one, each year we say, let's make it bigger and better. And this year is really going to be special. In fact, we got some surprises that are just, we always have a caddy book for the event. And the work that Ray has put in on the caddy book this year, working with Fairly Creative, a local disc golfer who's also a graphic designer. I would argue to say that when you see this caddy book, Terry, you'll say, boy, that might be one of the nicest caddy books I've ever seen for an event.
Make sure to bring it back here so we can show it off.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's exciting. Good. Ray's on the board. He says that it's all you, so I don't know if it was the brains question or the looks question, but either way, he said all Doug. So.
Yeah, I hope I didn't offend Ray by saying Doug's the better looking one.
No. Trust me, this would not be here if it weren't for Ray Woodruff. He has done some amazing things over the years, and this year he's actually taken the lead as the official TD, and I'm the assistant TD,
okay. Yep.
Which has been nice for me because there's been a lot of things I haven't had to worry about. But yeah, we're excited about it, and we're excited to have the disc golf guy out there, and it's just really, really strange to think that in 2011, when we ran this event for the first time and we had less than 60 players playing, that we'd be sitting here on a broadcast like this talking about the women's event in Denver. So we're real proud of it, and we're excited that we've got a lot of folks that are playing it. We're to be honest, we're as excited about having number one in the world, Paige Pierce, many lots of world championships, Val Jenkins, former world champion Sarah Hokum. We're as excited to have them there as we are to have 3 folks playing in the under 10 juniors division. So, and I think that's what's really going to take to grow women's disc golf, is to be able to focus on those top touring pros as well as those 9-year-olds. It's critical.
Yeah, and that was something else you perfectly segued to something else I was going to say, which is I counted 10 different divisions here for the women to be competing in. So there's, it looks like recreational women has 29, intermediate women has 28, those being your 2 largest divisions. And as you said, if you're talking about the growth of our sport, yeah, it's great to see, amongst Hokum, Pierce, and Jenkins or Doss, there's 6 world titles, but we're also talking about 57 women who are intermediate or recreational. I mean, clearly those are some of the numbers that are very exciting. And I'm looking at a few of the people, obviously a lot of people coming from Colorado to play. I also see a number of people from Utah, Kansas, and then some of our traveling players.
Yeah, 19 different states are represented,
Wow.
which is really really cool. I mean, we've got I think people from Virginia, people from you can look down the list. There's people traveling great distances. Never did we think that this would become kind of a destination tournament stop where folks would actually plan to travel out to Denver to play in this event.
Well, it clearly is a testament to the work that you guys have put in, the name, the recognition, the things that you guys have done as a crew and as a staff. And as you said, I'm very excited to see it unfold. I'm being a tournament director more so in the past, but to be able to experience what you guys have going on, I'm genuinely excited to see how it all unfolds. I've seen some really good events, and I've seen and even hosted some not so good events. I've seen everything in between, but when you have such a focused energy that's going into this group of 120 women
and the crew that they have, just
it's gonna be
I was gonna say it's gonna be hard to top.
Yeah.
Yeah. And our sponsors have been outstanding too, starting with our title sponsor, Dynamic Discs, who has just done some amazing things for us. I mean, when you get here, Terry, you'll see all of the sponsors. I mean, just so many people step up. And, I tell people this all the time. People have come to me in the past and go, hey, you guys should run a men's event. You guys should run a men's event.
Like now.
It's kind of almost politically incorrect to say no to sponsoring a women's only event. I mean, we've really had some good luck. And also, I will tell you this, and this is some encouragement to TDs all over the country, is that, run good events and sponsors will come back.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the beauty of this. I mean, you look at folks like Vibram, you mentioned them earlier, Steve Dodge. I mean, he gave us some discs for the very first one of these, and he continues to support it every single year. And I think part of the reason for that is that people give good feedback on the event. And if you're running an event, you want it to grow and you want it to keep building on itself, just make good decisions and run good events, and good things will happen. I really do believe that.
Well, and before you give your any additional plugs, I'm going to go right now on the record and saying it is because of Steve Dodge. It is because of Vibram. They were the major component in helping bring me out there. As some people have realized, with Disc Golf Guy coverage this year specifically, I've been kind of working with whoever wants to work with me. We found that it's a little bit easier rather than being tied to any one specific brand or one specific manufacturer. So kind of each event and their coverage can be on a case-by-case basis. And I had, I knew that Steve Dodge was working with you guys in the event. When I reached out to him, he instantly said yes, he would like to support it. So he's one of the main driving forces behind getting the coverage that I'm going to be bringing, getting it out there. So thank you to Steve. Of course, I'm still looking for a little bit more support. If somebody wants to donate, Don Loper was already almost immediately last week when we made an announcement about the possible coverage. He immediately donated money via my PayPal, as did Dan Ramstack. So thank you to you two gentlemen. Now go ahead yourself, Doug. Please mention a number. I'll be highlighting them, but go ahead and mention a few of your sponsors. You said Dynamic Disc as a title sponsor. Do you have a few other big sponsors you wanna list?
Oh, yeah. I mean, well, just to give you an example, every player is getting 5 discs in their players pack. Innova Champion Discs, working with Valerie. I need to say Valerie Doss more often.
That's all right.
It's a hard habit to break.
Her caddy may come and correct me later, but they've donated a disc for every player. Prodigy has donated a disc for every player. Fly High Discs has donated a disc for every player. Discmania has donated a disc for every player. Obviously, Dynamic Disc has done just amazing things for us. I mean, just phenomenal support of the event, and they've been around since day one on the event. In fact, they've helped us come up with a very special gift for all of the caddies that are dads on Sunday. Sunday is Father's Day, and for those guys that are coming out that have kids that are going to be toting bags around on the course on Sunday, Dynamic has worked with us on a really special gift for those dads that are caddying. The City of Superior, the Mile High Disc Golf Club, Colorado Trailers, and I'm going to offend somebody because I'll miss somebody here, but at the players meeting in the caddy book, you'll see everyone else listed. Again, it's just been amazing support for the event. Folks that have supported it from day one: Right Life Discs up in Fort Collins, Fly Green Discs, a retailer in Denver, Shot Shapers, a retailer in Denver. The list goes on and on and on. And when you see this event and you see that every AM player is going to get a player's pack that's worth, $150, as well as their complete entry fee back in Rocky Mountain women's bucks that they can spend at our vendors. Every single player gets their entry fee back, or the AM players get their entry fee back to spend on whatever they want. One of the things that women have always given us positive feedback on is we've always given them the choice of what they get, and we've had multiple vendors show up at the event, and there's kind of like a market type feel around Tournament Central. So you'll get to experience some of that, Terry, when you're here in Denver. But lots and lots of sponsors. Thank everybody. Last but not least, thank my wife for putting up with me all the time. Every time we start running this event, it takes a lot of my time away. My wife, who incidentally has won the Advanced Masters field in the event 2 out of 3 years, so I'll call that out right now, and hopefully she hears that, or one of her friends.
I was just noticing that she was playing there, and I noticed that she's got some stiff competition as well. I was just checking out just purely by ratings, and I saw she's going to have some tough competition this year.
That's right. So, no, it's going to be a great event. We can't wait to see you out there. And I'd encourage everyone that's watching this broadcast to follow up with whatever Terry is able to produce as far as his blog goes, and check it out. Bobby Brown from Dynamic Discs will also be doing some video work. He's going to be focusing more on actually running women's events, and kind of the focus of a lot of his video work will be to share what we do, and maybe it can be repeated across the country where other clubs and cities and areas could run women's only events too. It really is a key component of growing this sport, is to focus on the women's side of it as much as we do the men's side of it.
I completely agree, and I can attest to that, because I've helped then organize the women's global events here in Wisconsin the 2 years that we've had the opportunity to do so, and just that camaraderie and the togetherness and the way everybody brings so much passion and energy to the event. And then in Wisconsin, our local organization, the Dolls, the Disc On Ladies League, primarily headed up by Jenny Sanfilippo. They're just, I think as of yesterday, she said they were 6 spots short of being sold out for their women's only tournament, which is taking place next weekend here in Wisconsin.
That's awesome.
And they're, emulating things that they've seen from the Rocky Mountain women's event and from the Disc Girls Gone Wild event. And now they have, almost 90 people to be sold out here in Wisconsin for a women's only tournament as well. So it's just so amazing to see across the board. Unfortunately, I can't take it in because I'll be at Vibram, but I know that it's already considered a huge success with what they have going on. So
yeah, they're ecstatic about it.
Awesome. All right, Doug. Well, we appreciate again you joining us, especially at last moment, for you to jump on and explain, give us a little bit more in-depth preview of what everyone can look forward to this weekend. I'm looking forward to get out there. I believe I could give you the quick update. I believe I get in at 7:05 in the morning. I'm on a flight out of Milwaukee at 5:35. And I'm in Colorado at 7:05, and they kind of worked out really well, because I felt like that gave me.
I'm not dropping you off at the airport, by the way.
No, I
Don't
knew you
call
wouldn't.
me.
But I know that gives me most of Friday to take in the course, to catch up with some interviews, to do some other pieces with some of the, whether it's the staff and or some of our competitors. That gives me all day Friday to get acclimated to what's going on and get up to speed, and then. Take in the action on Saturday and Sunday. Did you mention golf cart? I don't know if I heard you say golf cart available for it. No? Okay. Maybe I didn't hear that. No, I'm just kidding. All right. Well, Doug, again, thank you so much. Any parting shots before we let you go here tonight?
Well, no, thank you guys so much for everything you guys do. I've recently, over the last month or two, started watching what you guys do, and it's really cool to see this. I started playing golf in, I think, 1996, disc golf, and to see all of the video and the blogging and what technology has allowed us to do, I really think this is one of the things we need to do to grow the sport. So thank you guys both for doing that. We'll look forward to seeing you in Denver, and thanks again for everything you guys do.
Absolutely. All right. Have a great night.
Okay.
See you in a few days.
Yep.
All right, and then as I said, coming in at the last moment, Doug Bjerkes, between him and Ray, who is on the board, I was trying to spit that out, between him and Ray on the board, very exciting. Like I said, they're geared up. I think they have everything pretty dialed in, and this is really no secret, but when you're sold out, as they said, in 2 days, but when you're sold out for a tournament, months in advance, they're able to do so many more awesome things. I mean, they're obviously already had their mindset on doing a lot of phenomenal things, but customizing shirts, for instance, I don't even know if they're doing it, but just throwing it out there.
You can do things like that, but on top of that, you gotta assume that helps out to get more sponsors.
Oh, absolutely.
Because
telling people you're sold out.
Because you can tell people, listen, we've already sold out at 120 or whatever your
plus 40-person waiting list.
A 40-person waiting list. Some of the times you may approach a sponsor and say, hey, whether it's, let's just say, your local sub shop, like, hey, can you maybe do it? And they're like, well, how many do you have? You're like, well, I don't know yet.
Could be 30, could be 130.
We don't know. And and it might turn them off, or that they're unsure, or do they want to put the effort in if they're going to have 15 people show up, things like that. When you can sell out an event ahead of time, go to a sponsor and say, listen, this is a successful event, your name's going to be out there for advertising and whatnot, we're going to we'll tell everybody about you and your product or your store or whatever. It helps out immensely.
Yeah. You said sandwiches, subs?
I did say subs. I said local sub shop.
Okay, we'll see what kind they got. I'll say head west in Springfield, Illinois area. I didn't get a chance to stop there last weekend, and I was thoroughly disappointed that it was one of the best sub shops, and anyone that knows anything about being near Springfield, Illinois can attest to this. Head West is the name of the sub shop. I'll give them a free plug. They gave me nothing either year, but their sandwiches were phenomenal. They were a supporter of the event, which is why we went there, and they were phenomenal. So that's not quite my weekly pick. I actually have a weekly pick.
Yes. We didn't do them last week, did we?
I've slacked. You're better than me at them. I've slacked. I have one this week.
Yeah. I honestly don't remember if we did one last week.
I bet you we didn't. I don't think we did at all, actually.
That's fine.
So let's run through a few things. We'll get this wrapped up. I'm relatively quickly.
We only have a couple things as far as news and social media go. One of the things that I saw on social media was this kind of crazy shot. For those of you, I'm going to play it here for those of you who can or can't see it. It is, I'm going to actually make it, there we go.
Full screen, there you
go.
go.
Full screen. We're going to start from the beginning here. This is Simon Lizotte on a swing, probably about 70 feet away. 60,
I'd say,
60,
or further. Look at him. Look how many times, look at his jog. If we sat and counted.
I don't know. Talking people about distance is so tough. Anyway, it's a good distance away. He chucks it while swinging on a swing and drains it. It's silly. He is one of the more enjoyable people on social media because he doesn't come out with anything stupid and political. He doesn't really have an opinion about a lot of
controversial issues.
He just goes out and puts great fun silly videos out there, and to each their own. We need people out there that stir the pot a little bit, but that's not his MO. That's not his MO. His MO is, hey, watch this really cool thing I can do with a disc, and you go out and try.
Yeah,
it's more or less, I think, what his mentality is.
Well, and he likes to take his, and some people do ask all the time, like, oh, do him and Macbeth really dislike each other because they're always kind of calling one another out? No, it's all fun rivalry. They're teammates under the, we'll say Innova empire or Innova umbrella. They're teammates in that sense.
To prove it, if you go on Simon Lizotte's Facebook page, his little profile pic is it looks like K Money. It's got that's who that is, right? That's Avery, Simon, Paul, and I don't know
Johnny Tompkins.
And Johnny Tompkins. Yep. Okay, so I don't. There's nothing. there's no bad blood between those two. Simon gets a kick out of Paul, and I've noticed that Simon gets a kick out of a lot of the memes that are out there.
Yes.
He likes to repost those, which I think is pretty funny.
Yeah, and Turbo Putt is asking, why do you guys pick on Simon? Well, in no way, shape, or form. I think you completely misunderstand us if that's how you feel that we're picking on him. We love what he does.
Yeah, I don't think... I can't think of when we picked on him.
No, I mean, he takes aggressive shots, which isn't a secret. We're not exactly brilliant by saying that. He takes aggressive shots, which sometimes he pays for. But we're never really picking on him in any way, shape, or form.
He serenaded us.
Yes, he did. I have that video.
When we were at the GBO after we did our last podcast, we were kind of packing up, and then we went to run to go do something else to pick up some other stuff. We went by the Discmania circus tent on wheels,
which is really their RV.
And he had his guitar, and he came out and started
singing to us.
Yeah, I can't remember what song. I have to.
I have it. Yeah, I have it on video somewhere. But
he was taking requests too.
It was. I think
Mr. Big.
we jokingly told him that would be our opening to our show or to my video blog or something of that nature. So
no, we never. Yeah, I mean, if we're picking on him, it's all in good fun. If anyone ever sees that, but he's an aggressive, fun player.
Yeah, and clearly enjoying every moment here in the States and playing his disc golf at the highest of levels and.
Yep.
Setting records and doing all sorts of, fun or silly things.
Yep.
Very entertaining to see. Was there anything else that we were? Those are show notes.
Yeah, these are the show notes. No, I
those
had
look
something
nice. Good job.
Yeah, Dana filled a bump with his.
Oh, good job, Dana.
There's a couple blank spots for interviews this week because I didn't know Doug was going to come on. Otherwise, we might have set up
either
something.
did I.
Yeah, I know. Neither did you. No, I had something about Paige not playing, but we actually covered that in the event update. So there was really not a lot else out there unless someone has something that they want us to talk about, but
that's super pressing or timely in that sense. That's not so generic. Otherwise, I think it's going to be a relatively I'll say early, but I think we'll have a timely podcast in under 2 hours. One of the questions that came in was, did he do an AVR one too? I saw where the stamp was over a signature Macbeth P2 stamp on his stamp. Yeah, he's done a couple different funny Instagrams where he's stamping stuff, or Paul is. Obviously Simon throwing a lot of Discmania stuff, being his primary sponsor. But for those who don't know, and I guess we always assume that people know this, if you are sponsored by Dynamic Discs, you, as far as I know, are always then welcome to throw Westside plastic, Dynamic Disc plastic, and Latitude 64 plastic. You're able to throw anything within that family. Again, it's been deemed the trilogy, but anything with that family of plastic. And in a similar sense, if you're sponsored by Innova, you, unless anyone has some crazy, minor contract stipulations that aren't well known, when you're sponsored by Innova, you in fact can throw Discmania products as well as Millennium products.
Correct.
So those are some of the unique situations that are out there, and I guess we always take that for granted. In a similar sense, more often than not, I think, if you're sponsored by Discraft, you're able to throw DGA discs, and then vice versa. If you're DGA sponsored, you're usually able to throw Discraft discs. So just to name a few of the specific sponsors and some of the things that are out there. Yeah. And that's because they cross-produce things for different manufacturers and have special arrangements and whatnot. So
Turbo Putt says that he thinks we're not picking on him, but that we downplay his videos.
Oh gosh, no.
And no, I enjoy them thoroughly. They're amazing shots. You always have to take it with a slight grain of salt because you always wonder in the back of your head, how many times did he try it? Because anybody could do it. Almost anybody could do it after 1,000 tries. One of them's going to go in. I don't think it takes him that many tries. He is a natural with a frisbee or a disc or anything circular in his hand.
Or a pick and a guitar.
Or
he's
a pick
a
and a guitar.
Yeah, he's a natural.
Yeah, I really do thoroughly enjoy what he's putting out there. I think it's a lot of fun. And I am looking forward to him and Brody Smith and Avery, and I don't know if Paul was part of that as well, video that someone had mentioned that they were doing. So
Ellen Risley had mentioned that, and it's kind of more of an older school train of thought because it's not as prevalent as it maybe used to be for lots of different reasons.
Yep.
He said that Stokely blew the Innova sweep at the Beaver State Fling, and what he's referencing there is anytime at these big events, if there is, there's been all sorts of, I don't want to say stipulations, conditions throughout the years, and I know they've changed. I was sponsored by Innova once, and I know they've all changed throughout various years, so I don't know exactly what the contract says these days, but basically, I know at one point, if Innova, for instance, took the top 3 spots at an A tier, everyone else that was playing in the event is to get a bonus.
Yeah.
And so sometimes you'd hear Innova sweep or whatever, and all the different manufacturers have different incentives and bonuses.
Is Jessica sponsored?
Jessica is sponsored by Innova.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, so you saw Paul obviously winning open, Jessica taking Jessica, and then Val right behind her in second. But Innova there, and the women's side, and then on the men's side, Patrick Brown being Innova.
He would have had that push. So
And any
you
given-
used to get bonuses for that and things
Correct.
of that nature. And I don't know what we were saying I don't know what the contract stipulation is anymore.
And then we all know that next weekend it could be an all Prodigy sweep very easily on any given weekend. So
Correct.
that's kind of some. I guess I'll say that's almost older school mentality. That used to be again more prevalent.
That was
I
more
guess.
prevalent of when you basically just had Innova Discraft.
Yeah,
it was really
correct.
just heads or tails. back
Yeah,
in the
and
day.
it was an occasional, and it was the person that would come in and spoil that, whether that was Nate Doss at the time
Yep.
or whoever the top player was for Discraft would sometimes screw up, so to speak, those Innova bonuses by doing well themselves.
Yeah, because
they didn't consider it screwing up.
Yeah, maybe Kenny wouldn't win or something back in the day. So
Yeah. And then a question about Stokely's line. I believe, in fact, Stokely has, and again, we don't have him on here yet, but I believe he is working. I was told at one point that he was working to rebrand a lot of his disc or disc names. I think there was some challenges there, some maybe marketing and PR challenges
Sure.
with some of the disc names that he previously had. So I think we're going to see those possibly rebranded. And I don't know if that could be completely a rumor, but I believe it to be true, A. And B, true or not, I think that should be done. Because I think of the PR end of the branding and of the challenges.
And I don't think that was so much the question, more as it was just rebranded Gateway Plastic.
Correct.
If it's just Gateway stuff that is restamped with other...
Yes. Short answer to that also is yes.
Okay.
Gateway discs.
The Gateway molds with
different names. Correct. So that's...
Yeah, and
I think that's something that...
I don't know if that's all he throws. He could...
I believe that it is.
Yeah, I was going to say, it wouldn't surprise me if he had a Discraft disc sitting in there or an Innova. Not so much Innova, because he's always been a Discraft guy back in the day. But
he was once sponsored by Innova.
Yeah?
Yeah. Way back.
90s.
Mid-90s. Anyway.
So, but no, it wouldn't surprise me if you looked through his thing and you saw an old Extreme.
More than words.
Yes.
Anyway, wow, that's an old reference. I think it's all Gateway, though. Or, sorry, all
Fly
his
High.
brand.
Correct.
Yes,
I
believe so.
Quite possibly. So.
Anyway. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Do you have a pick? Oh, you do?
I do have a pick. Last week, and I don't know if like I said, I don't remember if we did picks last week because I
don't think we did.
So I'm going to go out and pick Mad Max, the new Mad Max movie, Fury Road. It was awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It's nothing that's going to change the world. It's not that type of movie. It was just a big, long car chase, action, crazy, post-apocalyptic type movie that I thoroughly enjoyed. Like, there were characters that you would just barely see, and you're wondering, and all you'd want to know is like, what the heck is his backstory? Why is there a guy on a car playing guitar with no eyeballs, with flame shooting out of the guitar, with the giant speakers behind him? What's his story and what's he doing? So, if you get the chance, and it's one of those movies that I think if you really want to see it, go see it in the theater. It's well worth it to see it in the theater. It's kind of like that. I may go see Jurassic World.
I was just gonna ask.
In the theater. It grossed $500 million worldwide.
$511 million. Greatest opening weekend for any.
Second greatest, I think.
Okay, I thought I heard.
I think behind the Avengers.
Wow.
But and I could be wrong there, but that's what I thought I heard. So, yeah, and Jurassic World is one of those ones where I've heard it's you go there and it's everything you expect. Like,
Sure.
You're not going to be surprised. You're not going to be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they went this way with the story. You see it all coming a mile ahead, and you still enjoy every minute of it. So,
Now, I'm going to go on record right now. I may be one of the few people out there. I haven't seen Jurassic Park.
so you probably haven't seen any of the other 3 Jurassic Park movies?
There's 3?
Yeah.
Others?
Yes.
Besides one?
No, there was 1 Jurassic Park,
Okay.
and then there's 2 sequels to that,
Oh my gosh.
like Jurassic Park 2. and 3.
Village, Jurassic Trailer Park,
Jurassic Trailer Park. Yeah.
Jurassic Zoo.
Jurassic. So, and yeah, there were.
Holy
And
wow.
I'll say this. I think I saw the second one.
Color me stupid.
Never saw the third one, and they all went downhill after the first one. My understanding,
Which is amazing then that they've completely somehow revived this one that people are saying
Chris Pratt.
it's solely
Period.
him.
I think I mean, it's cool dinosaurs, but he is the hottest action star on the planet right now. I think he's bigger maybe not name-wise than Tom Cruise, but he is a bigger draw. I mean, the last 4 Tom Cruise movies have really just sucked it up at the box office.
Wait. Tom Cruise was in the other Jurassic?
No, but in general, his last 4 movies have really stunk, and he's not so much the draw. And Chris Pratt has been in everything good. He's one of those guys that I've listened to interviews. He's one of the guys. He seems like a really cool, down to earth kind of guy, and I think he's just a really good draw. So I don't know. Jurassic World looks good, so I might go see that in the theater at some point.
Everybody's calling me out on the board, saying that they can't believe that that's not really my genre
it's not.
of movie to begin with, and I understand their Jurassic Park is iconic, classic movie.
Yeah.
I didn't see it at the time, and it's not one I'd sit down and be like, well, time to hammer through this one.
Yeah.
I just haven't gotten around to it.
It's good. Like,
okay.
It's just flat out a good movie. It was good at the time. The special effects hold up for the most part, which you wouldn't expect from a movie that's 20 years old. And it's well, it would not be out of your. It wouldn't be a bad thing to watch.
Okay.
It's one of those things where you're like, should I watch it? Yeah, maybe. You might catch another pop culture reference in the future because of it.
I was gonna say it's also not like.
But you're not.
Well, it's not like your cable guy or your Billy Madison, or what I'm saying is it's not one of those that you usually just come across on a Saturday afternoon on Comedy Central, for instance, or a USA or wherever. Like, you could be flipping through
you don't
USA
really
on a given weekend, and there's Billy Madison, and as soon as it comes on, or Happy Gilmore,
and who knows,
this
month you may actually see that because of the movie. So
yeah,
what I don't understand, and I haven't watched the movie, they keep opening up this Jurassic Park, and it keeps going crazy, and dinosaurs keep eating people.
Hey, spoiler alert! Simmer down.
So I don't understand. The one interview I did hear was that's kind of part of the
criticism.
No, not the criticism. The plot.
Oh.
Like the fact that corporate money will always outweigh the good of nature in general. Like, if you open up a dinosaur zoo, we'll say, and it makes $1 billion a year, and so you lose a couple thousand people every couple of years. What are you gonna do? People are still going to come.
Well, Seti says he has walked out of the last 4 or 5 movies with his popcorn. So it's funny that he'll go spend $8, $9, $10, $12, $15 for a ticket, depending on where you are. But then you're going to spend like $19 on a set of popcorn and then still walk out.
Oh, I don't know if he means he walked out of the movie or he just walked out with his popcorn, because I walk out with my popcorn, get a refill, and then leave.
Found I simply can't do Hollywood anymore. Walked out of the last 4 or 5 movies with my popcorn.
Oh, that's unfortunate, Seti.
I'm under the impression he's left.
Yeah, I think you're picking the wrong movies then.
Maybe.
And I'll say this: no, Pixels doesn't look good. For anyone that thinks it does, I think you're going to be sorely mistaken, because Adam Sandler's garbage.
Wow. Okay.
What was the last good movie he did?
I just referenced Billy Madison or Happy Gilmore, maybe.
Punch Drunk? Punch Drunk Love?
Yeah.
Probably. Maybe I think there was a 9/11 one he did as well, which I haven't seen, but yeah, I can't imagine Pixels. Kevin James and I'm sure who else is going to be in there from Saturday Night Live?
Chris Rock?
No, the one.
Rob Schneider.
Rob Schneider is probably going to show up in there. I can't imagine this is going to be a good movie. So I think you're all going to be wrong.
Okay. Well,
what's your pick then?
I coincidentally enough, my pick also has something to do with viewing.
You use your eyes.
Viewing, visual stuff.
We should do a podcast that has nothing to do with disc golf.
Just miming?
No. A podcast nothing to do with disc golf. Just have people ask us stupid questions.
Yeah, we could. We could have a non-disc golf and off the disc golf record podcast. So before, and this could have been referenced in social media, some of you may have seen the video that Murder Mike, and this one is suitable for work and for children, but Murder Mike put together a little video that spoke of, it was a play off of the Clark Griswold and the Family Christmas, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. and when Clark received his
check.
bonus check.
That was the meme I saw.
Yeah, which was actually a video meme.
Oh, was it? Okay. I
yeah.
didn't see.
So if you want to play it, I guess. Do you?
Sure. Hold on here.
It somewhat sets up my story, so this is probably worth playing. Again, it's it's just under a minute long. Will audio people get the audio?
They should get the audio.
All right, go ahead and turn it up.
Let's make sure they're getting the audio.
It doesn't appear that they are, so we're gonna play this here for you just in a second.
It says they should be getting audio here.
I don't see any of those lines going up and down.
I see the lines going up. See?
That's when we're talking, though.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Anyway,
so
Clark Griswold is just opening his bonus check, and
that's why. Hold on. It helps if I don't have it muted.
All right, you want to start it over?
All right, maybe I don't get volume.
All right, anyway, okay, here it is. Here it is. Sorry about all that. So Clark Griswold is opening his bonus check, and the family's around him. Everybody's wondering, what it says because he's got this look on his face. And the meme text says, "Just when you thought you had the tourney in the bag, and then you see Paul Macbeth's scorecard, and you realize that it's Sunday." And then Clark Griswold goes on and freaks out and is all incredibly ticked off and gets a little destructive. So that was a meme, video meme, I guess if those exist, that Murder Mike had put together. And he was obviously referencing the fact these people freaking out, Clark freaking out. And somehow, and I am behind the times. I absolutely am. I don't think you're going to get this reference either because I don't think you're any more caught up than I am on this one. But immediately following that, I was then led to the greatest freak out ever. Have you ever seen this video? It's titled The Greatest Freak Out Ever. Oh, here we go. Everybody's now getting sound.
Yeah, I think I had captured, I think, without sound. So anyway.
So it's the greatest freak out ever. And it's a brother filming his other brother whose Xbox had just gotten turned off, or PlayStation account had just gotten turned off. All right. And this brother goes on this tirade and completely freaks out and whatever. And that's fine. It was funny. It amused me. The problem was there are like 31 other episodes of this that follow it. And somebody had put it in a playlist, so when Greatest Freak Out Ever 1 was done at 2.5 minutes, Greatest Freak Out Ever 2 was done.
Same people?
Same people. Yeah.
So it's a ploy.
Well, they were very entertaining and engaging, and of course you're questioning the validity of them. But even fake or otherwise, I found myself laughing out loud.
Okay.
Like, and here's the sad part. These are 2 years old.
Sure.
And maybe that just goes to say, I don't, believe it or not, I don't scour YouTube for content. I really don't got time for that.
Yeah.
I mean, YouTube's a huge asset and a tool of mine, and that's, how all of us enjoy so much disc golf and videos and SmashBoxx and our glamorous studio.
Yeah, glamorous
Thank
studio.
you, YouTube. But I don't scour it for other content. But I'm telling you, I came across this, and I was absolutely glued to it for...
I would be curious. Maybe I'll take a look. I think maybe I've seen one.
I'm sure. I'm guessing you have, because I think I've seen maybe even one of them anyway.
Yeah.
And so the channel is Wafflepwn, which is WAFFLPWN, and I think there's like 31 or 41 videos.
Sure.
And I don't want to spoil certain things for you, but you need to see some of these because they just make me laugh. Again, I feel like I'm out of touch, out of time.
You're out of touch with the millennials.
I am, but let's put it this way: his video is 6 years old, called "Greatest Freak Out Ever." 83 million hits.
Sure.
So clearly, one of the most viewed YouTube videos of all time.
Probably,
I mean, it's way
yeah.
up there. And then, like I said, I got sucked into the channel, and I just started watching, and they're all between 2 and 4 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But once you start watching, it's impossible to turn them off, especially if they're queued up to go from one to the next,
Yeah.
to the next, to the next. I'm not saying they're PC. I'm not saying they're suitable for work-ish. They're definitely not PC. I mean, it's, the premise is this, 16, 15, 16, 14-year-old brother, and then his older brother freaking out over a lot of different things. And, yeah. All right, should we give the spoiler alert about the NBA Finals?
The fact that Golden State wrapped it up. We've got a happy man in Mike Cousins.
Mike,
who was a huge
yep.
Golden State fan. I got the story. He was at Game 1
Yep.
of the Finals because he used to have season tickets that he then passed down to Peter Sontag.
Okay, yep.
And then
because Mike no longer lives in
that area,
San Francisco Bay Area or that state,
which is where he did 25 years ago or
yep.
whatever it was. So he was there. He's been a huge fan, which is funny because Mike has such scattered alliances with his teams. I mean, he's a Giants fan as far as baseball.
San Francisco,
correct, and Golden State. But he's for some reason he's a Bears fan for football, and now thanks to his daughters, he's a Wisconsin Badgers fan.
But they all have logical ties
they
because
do.
he
It's
lived
just-
in Illinois, so to
I
be a
know.
Bears fan and a Bulls fan and a Blackhawks fan.
I know, but then he's lived in Arizona. I think he's got some sort of Arizona ties too. He
Yeah,
loves
a little bit of
pick a team, Mike. Pick
Yeah.
a team. No,
Yeah.
I'm just kidding, Mike. Yeah, Mike's a big fan of Golden State Warriors. He had a hat and everything when we were up there a couple weeks ago, and he was rooting for him quite hard. So congratulations to the Golden State Warriors, who took down LeBron James.
LeBron told me on the Facebook or on the internets that he wasn't worried and he was the greatest player.
That great. You can be the greatest player, but if you don't have a supporting team, and I'll say this, he makes the team better around him, but not good enough. They need one more, and it's unfortunate. I think I watched a total of 3 minutes of basketball the whole year. I do know that Cleveland lost a couple of their key players, which is unfortunate. So they were not at full strength going up against Golden State. But
I read.
You lose.
I don't know if I can call it an ignorant statement. It's a pretty bold way
Willy
to say
Wonka
it.
says you lose.
Yes, but I read earlier today, someone on the Facebook, one of the people that's on the Facebook, had said, "Oh, there's already a big asterisk next to this because the Cavs weren't at full power."
There's no asterisk.
F that. Take your injuries and shove them up your pie hole.
I said it sucks because I think the Cavs would have had a better chance with their full player with Kevin Love, and there was one other guy, but.
Yeah, I don't
It's
care.
too bad.
Injuries are part of all professional sports.
Yeah.
Do you wish?
A lot of times in football, they say it's not the best team that wins; it's the healthiest team that wins.
Yeah,
So,
that's
yeah.
And I'm not even a big basketball guy.
No, I
I'm
know.
just gonna say that was an ignorant remark
Yep.
in the sense that every team has injuries, and if everybody's healthiest team could square off against everyone else, healthiest team, blah blah. That's just not a reality.
Nope.
You know what?
Well, the Spurs.
Curry could have had a tummy ache tonight. I mean, I don't care. That's part of the game.
Well, the funny thing is the Spurs got basically scolded because in the middle of the season, they would start sitting their players because they're an older team. So, David Robinson's still playing for them. They would sit their players against some of their hardest opponents, knowing that they don't
kind of
care.
sacrificing it.
Yeah, just say, all right, well, why should we fight this one when we can rest our guys for a game or so? And so people hated that because when you go to a game, you want to see the best players, and suddenly they're all on the bench.
Yeah.
But they did it so that they would make it through the playoffs. Now, this year it didn't work, but in the past couple of years it has. So, that's part of playing, getting injured, and how do you deal with that? As a coach, that's not the worst plan in the world.
No.
So
yeah, it's anyway. We don't need to go off. I'm not qualified to speak on basketball. Really,
Correct.
honestly, I'm not. I know that Curry fella shoots really well, that's about the extent of my basketball
seems
knowledge.
like a nice guy and everything. So.
And LeBron sounds like an idiot and sometimes, and shows his junk on TV from during one of the games. Yeah, right before one of the pre-games. It was live. It was TV. They were filming, and he was like adjusting his shirt and his undershirt and his shorts and everything else. And his like on TV.
Yeesh, ouch.
Yeah. Anyway,
I can't wait for our Smashbox moment like that.
I don't even want to follow that statement up. So one of the questions that did come in real quickly was, God, we were supposed to wrap this up, was back to Am World's coverage. There's no new development there unless something crazy falls out of the sky. We're going to be there covering the Vibrant Birdie Bash Championships before Am Worlds. I may stick around for a day or two after that,
Sure.
or I may come home and then go back at the end of the week because I live about 4 hours from Kalamazoo. So maybe I'm in Kalamazoo Friday, Saturday, Sunday, come home for a few days, and then go back to Kalamazoo for Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Sure.
Honestly, I don't know where I'm at on that personally. Smashbox, anything's possible, but
Yeah.
we can't make any official remarks towards that at the moment. Did get fined for LeBron. I don't know if he got fined for that. I don't know whose fault that
doubt
was.
it.
I mean, I saw the thing. I
bet you did.
I saw it. It was all over the news, so I'm surprised you gave me such a shocked look.
I didn't see it, honestly. I saw nothing but like
You looked. No,
honestly, I didn't even know about it. That's
yeah,
kinda
no, that's what I'm
crazy.
saying. Is
It's
you
just-
didn't even know about it. It's
yeah,
really honestly
that's-
surprising. Everybody else knows about it, but
Yeah.
I who knows? I mean, they cut away from him right away. It wasn't, dare I say, it wasn't like a crystal clear, obvious thing that had happened.
Yeah.
But through some people, I think slowing it down and doing
yeah,
some other
there's-
stuff, they got it all
Can't get away
figured
with
out.
anything, so
And now, of course, there's a Michael Jordan, Larry Bird debate. Blah blah blah.
doesn't matter.
Michael Jordan's the greatest of all time. Period.
Yep.
Sorry.
Yep.
Sorry. I'm gonna say that.
Right now he is.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, if LeBron the next 8 seasons wins 6 championships, you can make that argument.
Sure.
But
that's not happening.
But no, it's probably not going to happen. And right now, MJ, up and down. So
that's my pick. Waffle Pone.
Waffle Pone. Is your pick?
Waffle Pone. Go out. I know you're gonna have your own thoughts about it. That's why I don't really want to talk about it more in detail or spoil anything. But just go out. If you're entertained, let me know. If you're not, let me know. But sadly enough, I was very entertained. And then I felt really dumb seeing that the original video was posted 6 years ago.
Sure.
And I'm just now seeing the other 41 videos.
Terry, there's
a lot of content.
A lot of content on YouTube you've never seen.
I know, and that's why I say people may think, "How could you not see that?" Honestly, I do not scour YouTube for anything ever, like ever. No. I don't really even watch disc golf videos out there because I just don't have time. There's a lot that I have to edit, and I'll follow this up real quickly and say, people really seem to enjoy the video I put out recently.
Really?
Yeah, I know. Believe that. Huh. When I had visited our PDGA executive director, Brian Graham. He was in Milwaukee for the National Sports Association Symposium, where all these hotel and reservation people and Visitors Bureau get together. They had this enormous, just ginormous symposium where Brian Graham was actually invited to it. Everything was paid for him to go, not on the PDGA's dime, but they bring him in. He was one of the most requested interviews out of all of the different sports going on, which says a lot about disc golf. And I sat in, and with his permission, and I mean his permission as well as the people that were talking with him, their permission, of course, I sat and got a little piece of what he does, not only what he was doing at that specific show, but what some of these people are thinking about when they're talking about hosting world championships, U.S. majors, women's majors, masters majors. And I'll say I was kind of skeptical because it's not disc golf footage.
Yeah.
I thought, people may or may not love this. I think it's really interesting. I enjoyed covering it. I enjoyed editing it together. And I was really skeptical that people would be like, "Oh, this sucks. I want to see Macbeth throwing." And that video was not meant to be that way.
I thought this was Macbeth versus Graham. What's up with that?
It was Brian Graham at a conference. I think it's 6, 8, 9 minutes long. And it gives you some insight into what really happens at our PDGA level.
One of the higher levels of our sport.
And you're saying of our sport. I mean, the PDGA is you, it's me, it's us that all belong. And if you still want to become a PDGA member, SmashBox New 20 is your promo code for 20% off of your membership. But it's just really cool. So go out and watch it. It's my latest video blog. I have 5, 6, 8 other vlogs all in my head and on this computer in front of me that just haven't assembled.
It's weird they're just not assembling.
I know. I wish I could just man, if you could only edit by like just telepathy of
And
sorts.
yeah,
Just be like-
couple years.
Anyway, so I've got a lot of stuff to still put out, and I hope that
Sure.
you guys enjoy it. But that's
I started watching. I got like 2 minutes into it and I got torn away from it. So I want to go back and do watch that because that was here in Milwaukee,
yes,
right here where we live.
Mm-hmm. So very cool. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think we're going to cut you loose. If anybody's, again, I'm going to make a quick final plug. If you've got either some support and or frequent flyer myers of some sort, I'm not sure that they can be totally cashed in even this late in the game. Maybe they can. We're looking to get
Or
one
if
of the
you're
best.
if you're a pilot or a
pilot.
stewardess or something.
If you fly a hot air balloon and you don't mind taking a trip from Bend, Oregon, over to just outside of Boston,
Yeah.
I wonder how long that'd take you to hot air balloon that. Those they can travel pretty quickly.
I'm sure they can, but
All right, Smashies, we need to know how long will it take. I mean, when I go out to Google Maps, I can select bus, I can select walking, I can select, please figure it out. You can select the bus route, walking, subway if it's in that area, and then, of course, car. And then sometimes you need a boat, depending on what you're doing. Yeah, I'd love to know, hot air balloon, how fast was the fastest ground speed? Now, is that's the fastest recorded.
Fastest
They were probably
recorded.
going for a record 245 miles per hour. But I'd like to know, okay, 2 men exceeded endurance record traveling 19 days, 21 hours, okay. The briefest time traveling around the world in 2012 was 320 hours, which is roughly 10...
someone's saying at least
18
at
days.
least 3 weeks.
No, not if you can go around the world in like 18 days. And we are traveling east to west, so the wind should help. John Allport is asking if it's spelled SmashBox New 20. Yes, all.
Yep.
It doesn't matter if it's upper or lowercase. I don't believe. Use lowercase to be safe. SmashBoxxNEW 20. SmashBox New 20. And that will get you a 20% off if you go out and sign up. This is if you are signing up as a brand new member of the PDGA. That's not good for renewing memberships, but that's brand new members. That's one way that they're helping support our Smashbox. Well, extending a favor to our Smashies, I should say. Yes, 245 miles per hour in a balloon was the record. Let's come on, you got this figured out?
I can't find the average speed of a hot air balloon. So
Average speed of hot air balloons.
yeah, that's exactly what I googled. How funny is that?
I know, but that's what I'm saying is you would think that would like pop right up.
Well,
That seems like a pretty easy question.
you'd think so. Maybe we'll ask Wolf from Alpha. Wolf from Alpha. So anyway, next week we got to figure out what we're going to do next week because you're going to be traveling. So I don't know if we're going to do a podcast or we're going to push it back to Wednesday night, maybe right before the event.
Or yeah, because there's going to be skins or something we're covering though.
So yeah, so
Maybe.
we'll get it figured out. We'll put it out on social media. Other than that, we'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Pocket Casts, any of your major podcasting app. Eventually, I've been looking into moving where our podcasts are hosted and blah blah blah. Cause I want better stats.
Out
So-
of your basement, you mean?
No, not where the podcasts, where the actual files are hosted.
Oh, you mean that kind of hosting?
Yeah, I could host them out of here. I have a nice little storage thing back there. So, and thanks to Aim for the Chains for posting on Disc Golf Course Review as he almost always does. So we appreciate that. Other than that, Terry.
Yeah, we'll see you guys sometime next week.
Yeah.
I'll have hopefully some updates. Obviously, look forward to this weekend, some Disc Golf Guy video blog action. It will not be live, so just to clarify, but we will be bringing you, I'll be trying to give you as much action as I can from the Rocky Mountain Women's Disc Golf Championships taking place just outside of Denver. So for Doug Bierkus
Thank you, Doug.
and for Dana Mitvichy,
Thank you, Dana.
for Zotron from afar,
Thank you, Zoe.
and for Johnny V and myself, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, that was SmashBox TV's podcast number 37. We'll catch up with you guys next week when you step inside the SmashBox. Thanks, guys. Good night. Meow. Anyway, All right. I think we won't go on too long here. I don't know if there was any other final pressing.
Somebody asked a question, and I was gonna wait. They asked, how do you describe ratings to someone who doesn't know anything about them? And I would think you would say, you would just kind of tell them 1,000 rated player is a really good player.
Yeah. Bless you. I don't know. I mean, yeah, that's true, of course.
Excuse me.
That's certainly true.
And then
what would your be analogy though? If you had to compare it to another sport or something that's maybe a little more recognizable, what would you use there?
I don't even know.
I don't want to say a bowling average because that's kind of a finite number. Not really a batting average.
No.
Is it almost more of like a quarterback passer rating ish?
Yeah,
I mean, it can fluctuate, but it's not really. But it's not against other people. It's what you're doing. I mean, there's a defined
Sure.
role there. So I don't really. I mean, you could say a handicap in golf, but I don't. I mean, it is. It's exactly that. It's a handicap in golf that fluctuates based on the specific course or tournament. That's really what it is.
Yeah, it's a handicap based on.
Go ahead and try and easily explain handicap to someone.
Yeah. No. I mean, they probably understand handicap. Most people do. But, telling someone about ratings, and traditionally what they say, 10 ratings points is one stroke on a par 54 hole, par 54 course, or SSA 54, whatever.
Yeah,
it is. So,
something like that.
close to it. Again, we should have Chuck on at some point just to kind of pick his brain. He'd be a really fun interview.
We should bring up Chuck.
Chuck.
Charles Kennedy, Chuck Kennedy, CK34 at AOL.com. He's your one of the main, him and his friend Roger, were two of the designers and implementers of the rating system, the current PDGA rating system that is continually evolving. I'm sure, again, it's a whole other can of worms of love it or hate it and blah, blah, blah. I know we could go on for days and days and days about all the people that love it or hate it. But just the generic question of how to explain it.
Yeah. How do you explain it to someone?
Yeah, I mean, Alan Risley kind of said what I just said: scratch, handicap, and ball golf. But my only problem with that is, explain a scratch handicap to me.
Well, it's just a way to rate two players on an even playing ground on a course. It gives you an advantage or disadvantage. I mean, that's the easy way to explain it to someone who has never played a sport like that. So anyway.
Depends on the course, who's there, the weather. Yeah, exactly. There is a lot of.
You know what my weekly pick should have been? My kid, my boy, who just came back with testing, going into first grade, tested into the middle of fourth grade math.
Very.
He
could explain ratings to us.
That's what made me think of it. All the numbers and stuff. I'm like, he could explain ratings to me, or how I would explain them to him.
Yeah, we should have him down here for that.
He'll come and explain it to us.
Beaver State Fling was awesome. Alan Risley was at the event. Glad to hear that you had a good time, Alan.
Yep. And AJ will be helping us out with some disc golf guy stuff, maybe a little Smashbox stuff. We'll see how that works out. But that should be a lot of fun.
Someone asked if we were going to do the next week's podcast from a hot air balloon, which I think would be fun.
That would be.
I've never been in one. You haven't?
Nope.
I think you don't like heights, though.
I don't mind them. Like something like
that. You don't like roller coasters?
I don't mind roller coasters that much.
Okay.
No, I'm strapped in. Like, I was going to say, like, being way up high on, like, a ladder, it kind of freaks me out a bit.
Okay.
But airplanes don't bother me. I can look out windows, skyscrapers. I can lean right up on a window. That stuff doesn't really.
Now you're acting all tough. We'll see what really happens.
So most roller coasters, I don't like the jarring, like getting shaken. So that's kind of why I'm like, on roller coasters. But I do them.
Way too dependent on who is at the event. Best player if they can win. More like a bowling average. Yeah, Dan, I disagree because a bowling average has an absolute finite.
Yeah. 0 to 300.
Yeah, exactly. And the pins are the same every. Yes, oils can change. I don't want to get into a bowling argument because I've been there. Honestly, I have. But for the most part, though, like bowling like darts.
Sure.
same basic premise every single week, trying to you against the board, and I'm really comparing, but I do not feel like it's like a bowling average at all.
No,
because it's just not. It's really not. Sorry, Dan. Totally disagree with you. It's not like a bowling average.
Yeah. Our other podcast, Outside the Basket.
Your non-disc golf pet. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen.
We just take one subject. We have people submit subjects, and we go off on one subject for like a half hour.
I don't know. I think we kind of inadvertently do that here already.
We do. I know, but.
Matt Siri, you'll see me next week. Yes, you'll see me at Maple Hill.
That's Byram, yeah.
Yep, he'll be out there. Matt, I'm still waiting on tons of sponsorship from you for various events. Just kidding. Finite is not a word. Finite is not a word I would use to describe the rating system. Exactly, and that's why I don't feel like bowling. You couldn't accidentally have the day of your life and then not accidentally, but intentionally bowl a 350 because you had a really hot day against the rest of the field. Like the best you could bowl is 300. The rating systems technically does not have a limit.
Correct.
So
if for some reason you went out and shot an 18 when every other pro is shooting a 2 down,
you've just blown away.
You've just crushed.
Rating system mind blown. Ratings inflation is a real thing. Yes, absolutely.
We need a colored belt system like karate for disc golf. Yes.
Field of play is always different and changing. Correct. Yeah. I don't want to say ratings is basically an opinion. I disagree with you there, Ryan. There is a ton of math that goes into it.
Yep.
Is it absolutely perfect? No, but I've said a million times, I want somebody to come up with something better.
Yeah, if you can come up with something better, this is what the best that we have, and like the funny thing
Roger
is,
and Chuck are not idiots.
No, and
they're not perfect, but they're not idiots.
It doesn't even matter.
That too.
It's not like your payout is based on your rating. You know,
correct.
There are some events that are based on ratings, but you have the choice to play those.
Yeah.
No major event has done that. So, but yeah. Whatever.
Different belts, though. Yeah, you're a black belt. What happens when the 1050 is a black belt? Because that's been such a elusive spot to be.
Everybody, all the top touring pros probably get black belts, except for Paul McBeth. I want him to have like a WWF belt. That guy, and he can only wear it on Sundays.
Ryan says, I think an archery average is more of a close thing. I don't know how archery scoring is done, but if it's kind of based against other people or who are there on any given event, then I would buy into your analogy. But I don't know if that's
outdoor. How it's done. I suppose you've got weather issues with that.
Yeah,
different than darts.
The opinion of how much it matters. Yeah, I totally agree too. Yeah. I mean, it's funny because you often hear the people complaining, saying ratings are a joke. They're so ridiculous. They're so out of whack. But there's someone, and they say they don't care. But they clearly care.
They clearly care.
And I'm not going to name a handful, if not dozens, of our top pros that say that. But I hear it all the time when people, our ratings are just ridiculous. They're a joke. They don't work. They're not right. Oh, they don't matter. They're so stupid. Then why are you worked up over them?
Yeah. Like I said, they don't matter to anybody. They don't count for bonuses, as far as I know, for anybody. They don't.
Yeah, you might get. Some people might get a bonus for being top-rated player in the world at the end of the year, maybe, but they're not life-changing. Let's put it that way. Anything that's tied to them is not life-changing. Coling has the WW belt. Yeah, WWF. I know him and Sexton go back and forth. They have a WWF-style belt. And I think whenever they play head-to-head at any given weekend, they exchange this belt back and forth. Nate Sexton, yeah, okay. Yeah, exactly what I was saying. If it's done like ball golf, it would make more sense. Yeah. I'll just say no because we have so many other differences. Look at ball golf. Who keeps track of putts on the green?
Yeah. And think about,
is Paul McBeth's 80-footer for eagle a putt off the green? Is that from the fringe? I mean, we don't line up as much as I like us emulating certain parts of ball golf.
Sure.
Hence, golf is in the name of disc golf. We just have way too many factors that do not equally line up with golf. So I don't think we can compare and do everything that they do.
Par is a slippery slope than ratings. Yeah.
That too.
I mean, yeah, you're right, because how do you determine it? Like Dana had said, like he considered that hole a gold par 3, which is like even though it was rated a par 4.
Correct. So yeah,
he felt that it should probably been just a par 3, a really hard par 3.
Correct. And I'll tell you right now,
If you
most people
statistically-
in the world that go out and play that aren't playing in the Beaver State Fling will take a 4 or 5 or 6 on that hole.
Yeah.
But as he was saying, it was a gold level par 3. So, yeah, okay, AVR. So you're saying that those are stats that I was referencing,
Like the putting and the off the green, on the green, pitching, things like that. We don't keep any of those stats. None of those stats are. And for the golf, I think he's talking about handicap, but I don't know. So I don't know how golf ball. I don't know or how golfers are rated. Like, oh, you're number 1 in the world. That's all I ever hear. Like so and so, like Rory's number 1 in the world now.
Yeah, and that's rated by things like greens hit, fairways hit, putts on the green. Those are all the stats that go into those things.
I don't know.
So, and again, I should probably shut up about golf stats because I don't know enough about them to have a good argument for or against them. But I just, generically speaking, I don't think we can look to golf and just
Not for
copy
everything.
what they're doing in that case.
Not for everything.
Under pressure performance is a factor. Well, I think we know who's winning that category. For sure. There's handicap has nothing to do with the stats.
No, that
Okay.
probably
Well,
has
then
to
I
do
don't
with
know
your
what we're even
score.
arguing about anyway right now, whether it's handicap or stats, or world ranking. That's again, and we have a world ranking that we're.
Oh, you want to hear people get upset?
Correct.
You talk about a world like rating is one thing. At least rating there, I think there's probably math behind the world ranking.
Yeah, there's tons of math.
But you want to hear people get all
Bent out of shape,
undies in a bundle. Talk to someone in the past couple of years who maybe so-and-so won this huge event and so-and-so didn't win this event, but he won a couple A tiers earlier in NTs, and how come he's rated higher than me? You will get some fun video that way or some fun responses from some pros. That's a blast.
Yeah. So it's too subjective, so maybe it's irrelevant. Maybe to some. Like I said, some people, when it comes to ratings, some people completely blow them off. And I feel like ratings are relevant because what we talk about here, we will reference ratings at some points, but what we talk about is who won. Yeah,
and ratings just give you. I mean, Durko had said, it should be more of a 10 point range, like you're a 1050 or a 1040 rated player as opposed to a 1052, whatever. It just gives you a generic.
Like snapshot of that weekend?
No, not snapshot of that weekend. I'm saying someone's rating gives you a generic of where they're sitting compared to other players. That's all it is. I mean, it could be 501 or 1,001. All you're seeing is who consistently shoots better. Period. That's all it is. It doesn't matter what it means. Paul Macbeth, I think if you look at the ratings, they might be a little skewy at times, but I guarantee you line those ratings up and you're pretty well looking at the top players in the world in almost the right order.
When
you think I'm right? If
absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I totally agree. You're not going to accidentally see a 974 rated player somehow be in the top 3 in the world rankings.
Correct. You might see some.
It just doesn't happen that way.
You might see some outliers when it comes to when you start getting down to the 30th and 40th, because you might have some local regional. A Chris Bragg, who maybe dominates in his area, is constantly shooting 10-20 golf in his area, but never travels out. Would you consider him the 30th best player in the world just because his rating is there? Maybe not.
Or Keith Warren.
He's
a great example. He's literally the highest rated left-handed thrower in disc golf.
And he's rated 1017, and
he's played like 3 sanctioned events this year.
More than that, he's actually playing quite a bit lately. But
really,
yeah, he's played almost every Wisconsin Tour stop.
Okay.
So, but anyway,
so he's played 5.
Yeah. Regardless, would he have that same rating if he went on a tour? I don't know. Might be higher, might be a little lower, but so.
PDGA website update says he's played 3.
All right. And I know for a fact
nope,
he's played more
I
than...
have reference right here. No, you're right. He's played 3 to 5 events. He's currently rated 1017, the highest rated left-handed player in the game, and he's played, we'll say, 5 tournaments this year.
Yeah.
And 0 have been outside of the state of Wisconsin.
Yeah.
So, like you're saying, if he had played that exact same level on the national tour, he would be probably rated higher than 1017 actually.
Correct.
Because right now
Because he would be playing against better players.
Correct, and hence ratings inflation that was mentioned. Anyway, real quick, getting back to Matthew Simpson's breaking it down, we appreciate saying that golf rankings are on a 2-year rolling group of stats, so the number one player could not win for a while and still remain number one. And then in somebody else, Turbo Putt says that it's tournaments won versus played, major events get more points, PDGA and European players, blah, 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 blah. He's basically describing our world ranking.
Yeah.
What you just described for in ball golf. So, yeah, I mean, that's just it. We have a rating system and we have a world ranking, and then how those match up against, say, a handicap system, and then a world ranking in golf. Same or not the same? Clearly it's not. All right, it works now. I'm rated. Always enjoy watching the unrated or non-PDGA players win. That there's nothing you can do about that for now. We let them play, and I'll tell you this: at an A tier, well, they have to be a member, so that's a bad example. But at even most B tiers, rarely do you see someone show up, have no PDGA number or history, show up and win an A or a B tier in the open division. Rarely.
Very rarely.
And if it is, it's because somebody just was too lazy to sign up for the PDGA, and they're clearly homegrown and just good, and this field couldn't have been that solid because you're not getting too many no-name players showing up to a solid B tier field and winning. It just doesn't happen. Depends on who is at the event. I don't disagree with you.
Yeah,
so,
that makes it fluctuate a couple points, probably. Handful.
Oh, who's there?
Of who's there.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I said if Keith Warren threw, we'll just say, the same caliber of shots on the national tour as he's played in the 3 Wisconsin events he's been at, exact same caliber of shots, he may be rated 1024 instead of 1017. Guess what? 1017 to 1024 is less than a stroke on most courses.
Yep.
Who cares?
I agree. Some people.
As the video somewhere says, who cares? Like, a lot of people say that they hate them, but then go on to say why they're so wrong and why they're so bad.
And have 1,000 reasons why they're so wrong, which clearly means they put in a lot of thought to it. So,
but then say they don't care.
Yep.
But I really don't care.
I sometimes don't understand how a person who wins a tournament doesn't shoot 1,000 rated round, so it's rated versus course as well. Yes, your course, the course does matter.
But how everyone else plays against it also matters.
Matters more, probably.
Yes, it does. Absolutely.
As long as it's
the course is borderline irrelevant. Yeah, I could go win a tournament shooting 970 rounds of golf.
Correct.
But if I just didn't shoot impressively on a very easy course, that could happen.
Yep. Oh yeah, definitely.
I don't know. Again, people I think put way too much stock in it to begin with. So.
Not me. I think it's the most important thing in the world.
Kind of like you think Donald Trump running for president is the most important thing in the world.
Oh, that's going to be fun. And not to get this into a politics discussion. Politics. I just think it's hilarious in the fact that I think he's going to make it look like a joke. Just being the fact that just because he has a lot of money, he has no more politics experience practically than you do, Terry.
Well,
he's run some businesses,
he's dealt with a lot of international affairs. He knows way more about Iraq and Iran than I do.
Only because I don't know. The guy's a joke.
Okay,
he's a joke, and unfortunately he's gonna make our political system, I think, look kind of like a joke.
I guess what he'll prove is can money buy you the presidency?
I don't think it will personally, but it's gonna be fun to watch.
Do you want to state it right here and right now?
I'll state that he's not going to win the presidency.
Okay, I believe he will not either.
I think, I think it's going to come down to another Clinton Bush runoff.
Okay.
I do think it's funny that Jeb Bush finally announced, and then like a day later, Trump announced and basically took all of his
thunder,
thunder and news. So I do think it's funny.
Yeah.
So.
So many other funny things that all go around that, and
It really is. That's kind of a I don't dig into the politics game too much on Facebook,
no.
but I get a kick out of, I like the stories publicly. I keep that to myself.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, I think our crap. Hold on. Hopefully we're still going. I don't know. It looks like something kind of errored out, so hopefully we're still moving along here. But yeah, I just think God, it kind of makes it look like a joke. That guy's kind of crazy.
Well, I have to say happy belated birthday to one of our best, most loyal and amazing Smashies in Don Loper. Your birthday yesterday.
Happy birthday, Don.
I think Semper Fi. I think that's what he says.
Yep, Semper Fi.
Oh,
Marine thing.
Oh, I thought that was a different. No, I'm just kidding. Yes, happy birthday, Don. Seriously though, we do appreciate all of your support, both me as the Disc Golf Guy video blogging, as well as us at Smashbox. We know that you're a huge supporter, and we appreciate it. I was trying to think if I know there was one other specific birthday that I wanted to shout out to, but nonetheless, happy birthday if you had a birthday this week. Happy birthday, or last week. Or next week.
Or next week,
birthday.
yeah. How you've been really good about wishing people happy birthday every week.
I know you didn't like the idea, so
I said I didn't care. I said I don't like the. I guess I don't like the idea, but I said I didn't really care if you wanted to do it because I knew you wouldn't do it. We get too off in other things and to get.
Worlds. We've talked about that a couple times. Chris, where you been, bro?
Yeah, probably not.
Probably not. Anything could change, but probably
as
not
of
at this
right now.
rate.
It doesn't look like it. So
yeah, maybe unless we get some big sponsors that want to support it, but there may be some compromise there.
Alan, yeah, he does say he has the solution for ISIS, but won't share it. Why would you share such a great solution so somebody else can steal your idea and take credit? I mean, no, we'd rather just watch hundreds of thousands of people die until.
All right, simmer down on the politics.
Rather than share this great idea you have.
Next,
I'm not ripping on Alan or anything. I just think it's a funny concept. Like, I've got the solutions for any politician, but I'm not going to tell you until I get elected.
Ryan, in either 7 or 8 days, we will be live again here on Smashbox. Maple Hill. There may be some action going on before it, like some kind of skins match or something that we've talked about. There's also obviously the full round coverage, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Full round coverage. There's podcasts possibly each night. Yep. There's going to hopefully be plenty of star-studded players around and hanging out at the Maple Hill facility, the Maple Hill Tree Farm. So I'm looking for a really big week over in Maple Hill. So plan on that.
Terry won't be doing live coverage at the Rocky Mountain women's event. It will be Disc Golf Guy coverage. After the Maple Hill event, we will be doing the Birdie Bash.
Championships,
and then after that will be possibly Ledgestone. We need to.
We'll be covering Ledgestone in some capacities as well.
Capacity, depending on the what rounds have, what courses have coverage and whatnot. We will be doing some live coverage there.
Oh, that's what I meant to say. Happy birthday, Tupac. I know you're out there listening,
still
Tupac.
Alive.
I know you're
down in Jamaica or something.
Yep,
Is that what exciting?
I know you're still alive. I'm sure you are, buddy. Anyway. All right. I think we can wrap this thing up.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a video I want to watch. Easiest way to remove a tick. It says everyone needs to know, but I still don't want to watch that video.
I don't know. I saw something crawling on my leg a couple of days ago when I was and it was really tiny and red and it looked like a tick, but I couldn't tell because I got it off me so quick and flung it out the car window as we were driving. So.
Question about Anthony Barella. I thought I reached out to him, but I might not have. I did reach out to Eagle McMahon, who again was traveling. We definitely wanted to catch up with him at some point. He was traveling to Kansas City, so he was not available. And then, like I said, we also reached out to Scott Stokely because the timing was actually just perfect.
Yep.
And Scott, again, giving a clinic with Zoe in tow. So, not available. So we'll, again, we're going to have way more than enough people for you guys to take in the action next week for sure.
Yeah, hopefully we have another, like GBO, just another star-studded in and out people, getting the quick 10 or 15-minute takes from a bunch of these guys.
Mm-hmm.
So.
All right, Biggie's
dead.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Tupac clearly alive. Biggie, not so much.
No, Biggie, no. Biggie's too big to hide. Tupac, though.
Hypnotize me. Anyway. Oh, gosh. All right. I don't think we got much out. I think we can close this up.
All right, guys.
Close up shop.
Close up shop. So, for another short after show, which probably we won't put out as a separate podcast. Someone asked me the other day, like, did your podcast have this June 2nd after show? And I'm like, oh, I don't know. I said, if we did, it's out on YouTube, but I don't think I put that one out. I think it was a shorter one, like a 10-minute one we did. I said, go check YouTube because it would be there because we don't stop recording. So, anyway, so for Terry Miller, the disc golf guy, I'm Jonny V. This is Smashbox, episode 37 after show. We will catch you next week at the Maple Hill Open. Until then, step inside the Smashbox.
Whoop whoop.